All right, good evening, everybody. I'd like to open the January 2nd meeting of the Wakefield Conservation Commission. We'll take roll call. Ken,
Here,
and Ken, you are the co-host.
thank you.
Haley,
Here.
Jim.
Yeah,
I don't see Peter yet. Teresa,
Here.
and I am here also. First off, we do have a guest with us tonight, a youth council member, William Buswell, has joined the meeting. So I'd like to welcome you to your first Wakefield Conservation Commission meeting.
Yay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You go by Bill, Will, William?
William's fine.
Okay. All right. Thank you for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. All right. First up is the approval of the minutes from, actually, I believe it's 12/13 and 12/19. Somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion, Bob.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All right. Hearing none, all in favor? Ken,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Jim,
Yep.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. Jimmy, do you know if Peter's joining us?
I think so.
Okay, and we know Paul is on the other side of the world right now.
Yep. He'll do anything to get out of these meetings.
Yeah. All right. I do want to say that we had a 7 o'clock DEP 313634 117 New Salem Street continued till January 16th per the applicant's request. Again, that's 117 New Salem Street, DEP 313634, continued at the applicant's request. All right, next up, discuss and vote on Article 97 transfer and conservation easement. Who's gonna kick that off? Mike, is it you or is it Rebecca?
I would defer to Rebecca if she'd like to, but I'm happy to open if that is the preference.
Yeah, no, why don't you go ahead? I think that'd be great.
All right,
Just
thank
for the
you.
record, Peter Miller has joined us too.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and the members of the Conservation Commission. So I obviously I know the commission is familiar with the background and the MLD's effort to construct the microgrid, so-called energy park, which would consist of the solar panels on the high schools, battery chargers, battery storage, and would also produce the EV charges and hopefully would result upon completion in an independent energy source, which could benefit the high schools as well as the towns in an emergency. Since we last talked to the commission, a few events of note have occurred. One is that the town meeting voted to support the Wakefield High School funding and construction. So that is moving forward, and we look forward to supplying the high school with green energy and backup energy as well. Obviously, we're here, so the Mass Legislature enacted the home rule petition with EOEA support. The bill was signed into law by the governor, and now we're trying to move forward with our commitments to the town to get everything tied up so that the energy park can move forward. Part of that is the presentation of this conservation restriction. A few items of note, just kind of highlighting the major points. The proposed conservation restriction would commit the property in perpetuity to the conservation restriction. It would expressly subject the property to Article 97 of the amendments to the state constitution. It's based on and it tracks the National Grid conservation restriction, which in turn tracks the state format for conservation restrictions. It's been reviewed and formally approved by Town Council Tom Mullen. And finally, to be effective, it requires a vote of the Conservation Commission, your commission, to accept the restriction. I would note that we have been before town council again and fairly recently in connection with the easement that the light department needs to construct the microgrid, and the town council did unanimously support the grant of that conservation restriction, subject to us tying up what we need to tie up, including this conservation restriction. So what we're asking the Conservation Commission to do this evening is to formally accept the proposed restriction so that the energy park can move forward.
Okay, thank you. Rebecca, do you have anything to add?
No, not really. I just think, if you guys recall, the whole package included also, they were going to create a pocket park. And then they were also going to restore some of the trees that were on some town property. And I think all of that was included as a giant package, which was everything we had talked about previously. I have I think an email from Steve Mayo that had it all included in there. So this is just the vote for the conservation restriction, but Mike, please tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe all of the other things are happening as well.
You're correct.
Yeah.
And the trees were at Maple Way. Well, yeah, Maple Way area.
That's correct.
Yeah,
In the area where we had the site visit.
right, right.
Does
Okay.
the conservation restriction apply to the pocket park?
It'll be committed to Article 97 as a passive park. So it'll be subject to Article 97, but it's not quote
Not
unquote
subject to-
conservation restriction.
It's not subject to conservation restrictions.
No, but it is subject to Article 97.
Mhm.
Jimmy, was your question the pocket part or the
Well,
the
both.
energy park?
I know the thing was a package, and I just didn't know how the conservation restriction, if it was applying to the other parts of the package, which I don't think it is.
Correct.
Any other questions or comments?
Well, is there a reason why it couldn't?
Which part, Jim?
The pocket park.
Because it's not it's not conservation land. It's going to be used as a passive recreation park.
Yeah,
But again, it is subject to expressly to Article 97
okay.
for
All
park
right.
purposes.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? Rebecca, you good?
Yeah, I am. I think it's exactly what we had talked about.
Okay. All right, would somebody like to make a motion to vote on that conservation easement?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Josh, I said you something.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor? Ken,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Peter. Peter? Oh, you're muted. I could read your lips, but I didn't hear you.
Man.
Yes,
Yes, can you hear me now?
certainly can. Thank you.
All right, sorry about that. I didn't realize that. That was on my my microphone was on a different one.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Anything else regarding this or,
Not on our end.
okay.
Well, Happy New Year to everybody. We appreciate the vote.
Yeah, Happy New Year, guys. Thank you.
We'll sign off.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's see, next up. We have DEP 313608, that's 60 Farm Street, the high school. Typo with condition number 59 that needs to be clarified.
Yep. I think I sent you guys an email on that. I got an email from Erin today when she was looking over the order of conditions, number 59, which had to do with snow storage. And there was a little bit of confusion about what was previously said at the meeting and what the condition should say. So when you look back, if you look back at that snow storage plan, it shows snow storage between the 50 and 100. Currently, the order says 100. I think that's a mistake. I think it probably should say 50. Because when I listened back at one of the meetings, Haley had said we approved a snow storage plan. It should be measured off of that. So if you look at that plan, was it that one? Yeah.
That's the one you attached. I just opened it
Okay.
up.
So you can see that there's the lighter gray with the longer dashes is the 100 foot. And as you round the corner, mostly to the left of, if you're looking at the screen, it's kind of under the red area. I was gonna say the other side, go the other side. Yeah, over there. So the 100 foot buffer zone is under the red and you can see the darker 50 foot. See that there? Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know if the mistake was that was thought to have been the 100 foot. Regardless, it's a typo unless you guys know differently. And I will just make the correction and resubmit the sheet. They haven't recorded it. So it will be as simple as me just making the correction.
So
So
Rebecca,
Yep.
if we say 50 foot, that means that all of those green, blue areas are their snow storage. That keeps it out of the 50 foot and that works, correct?
yes, that's according to the DEP policy, right? So you're
Yeah,
greater than
so it
50.
misses this corner.
There's a little bit there, yep.
And then it's just below that blue storage area and just on the edge of this. So actually, yeah, 50 is right on the line in multiple areas. So yes, that works.
Okay, that was it.
All right, so there is, let's see, I haven't read the email yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm reading it now. I'll share it
Sure.
since I'm reading it myself.
Or I can just tell you. More or less, I think that when I went back and listened to the there you go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. So we'll need to have a motion to make that change. Somebody like to make that motion to change from 100 foot to 50 foot?
I'll make the motion.
Is
I'd say that it's a correction of a clerical error, though.
probably
Then I'll
still
make
safe
the
to
motion
vote.
for a correction of a clerical error.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor? Ken,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yep.
Peter,
Yes.
and Teresa,
Yes.
and I'll also vote yes. All right. Rebecca, you ready to move on?
Yes, sorry. Just shuffling my papers and when you guys have to listen to it.
Okay. All right, so next, going in sequence of what you put on the agenda, we have discuss and vote on native planting policy, updated no disturb policy, and updated tree removal policy. I know there's been a bunch of emails going back and forth.
Let's do the native plant one first, because I think that's the easiest. I think you guys had a couple of corrections in there.
Yeah.
From last time. think they were pretty relatively simple.
This one might be a little harder to find.
Ken sent it at 10:43 on December 28th.
Okay.
Although I am gonna change my mind, despite the fact that this would be the easiest one to approve first. And I apologize for jumping around, but I actually think that maybe what we need to do is go to the no disturb one first. And the reason why I say that is because I think we need to get our language straight about resource areas, wetland resource areas, and how we use those. And the reason why I would like to do the other one first is because however the language comes out for the jurisdiction portion of the policy, I think should be the same for all three. That's my thought, just to have it, your jurisdiction would be the same. Just within that jurisdiction, how you're applying the policy would be different, right? That's the way I'm looking at it, but by all means, correct me if you guys want to do something differently. So I was just thinking that to have the jurisdiction section be consistent, maybe we just jump to this one first.
Yeah,
So
fine. That
I
makes
jumped
sense.
around. So I don't know if you guys did you guys see the comments I made today?
Yeah, are they incorporated in here?
No,
They don't show up there, but I can pull it up.
she sent it at 1:21 p.m. this afternoon.
I love that.
Yeah, okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it's attached, that file was attached, I've got it right here.
More or less, I think it was, and I can do it because it seemed to be that I kind of had the same comment over and over again. And it's really just a discussion point and I highlighted a couple locations because I didn't want to forget where I wanted to revisit it. So the last time, I think the last meeting, you guys changed it to be consistent resource area throughout.
Bob, can you open up the attachment?
Oh, I did before and she didn't want the attachment.
No, she wanted this one, not the other one. Open,
Oh.
open.
Wait a minute, this is the one I had open.
You know what, it's just that when you opened it, it didn't show the comments, but I can read the comments anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, why doesn't it show the comments, Bob?
I don't know.
Because it's being shown through his.
Your
Yeah,
setting is
okay.
not correct on the thing, probably.
Oh, wait a minute, this is
If you
a Frankenstein Mac converted to a PC. And I think there's an issue with
I think you have to open with Google Docs up at the top there, and then it'll have the full view.
download it first.
No, just reopen it like, oh yeah, okay.
Is this what you're looking for? The comments on the side?
Yeah. So last time, I think when you guys looked at this, and I wasn't there, but from what I understand, there was conversation about using consistent terminology.
Yes.
And which makes sense. And everything was changed to resource area. And I just think that we have to be a little bit, I think we have to revisit that again a second time, because if you include floodplain, like borderland subject to flooding, et cetera, and riverfront as a resource area. So, let me go backwards. And so the first definition of resource area, you can see I scratched out defined as the 100-year flood zone. And that's because, and I put it as a second bullet as land subject to flooding, because if you include land subject to flooding in your definition of a resource area, then you now attach a buffer zone onto that, because you have the buffer zone is 100 feet out from your resource area.
But
And
not all
so-
resource areas have a buffer zone.
Say again?
Not all resource areas have a buffer zone.
Right, and I didn't think that you wanted to add a buffer zone to floodplain in your policy. So that's why I took it out. You can scroll down and you can see what I mean, like, again, even in that paragraph, it's clearer later, but in that first paragraph, it says the commission may impose a wider undisturbed buffer zone to ensure the protection of resource areas. You're now talking about land subject to flooding and or riverfront also, because land subject to flooding was included as a resource area in your first bullet under jurisdiction. And then later, when you define resource area, which is actually a little bit further down, you again put riverfront. So by having riverfront and land subject to flooding in your definition of resource area, first of all, they're not consistent. One includes riverfront, one doesn't. But second of all, if you do it that way, anytime you talk about a buffer zone, you either have to change your language of buffer zone, because it's only a buffer zone onto certain things, because you're not applying a buffer zone onto a riverfront.
Right.
So by changing all of the language, and I'm not saying that the language was consistent the first time around, I think there's I tend to use, and it's probably not good practice in my head, and I think I wrote that in the email, is I think of wetland resource areas, and those are BVWs and banks and that kind of thing. And then I think of regulated resource areas, and those are like land subject to floodings and riverfronts. So they're all resource areas, but some of them are wetlands and some are just regulated. So I am not fussy about how it should be defined. I just think we should figure out a way what's going to include what, so that we don't unintentionally add buffer zone language onto an area that, although is regulated, but shouldn't have a buffer zone. So I think that's what most of my comments were.
Rebecca, the changes you made in this document, did you make the changes that address that?
So if you scroll back up, let's go through it. It should work.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because you separated out a buffer zone is a separate thing, and you put, subject to.
Yes. So I separated it there and just capitalize riverfront for consistency, right? So I took it out there. And so then if you keep scrolling, we shouldn't have to change that next highlighted green area. And I just highlighted it so I could point out as part of the conversation that because of that, like, undisturbed buffer zone of a resource area, again, if you had that language kept like that and didn't separate out land subject to flooding, you would assume that there's a buffer zone on land subject to flooding according to that paragraph. And I'm only highlighting it there to show that. But if we keep going, so buffer zone and the definition of buffer zone, see, now it says, and I didn't change that language. I think that was there. From any regulated resource areas defined, and that just says the general Wetland Protection Act. I think we might need to be more specific on that one.
How do we apply this policy? How do we apply this then? Are you applying it to all resource areas or just to certain resource areas?
And you know what? That question is kind of how I was like, maybe we should just take all talk of riverfront and bordering land subject to flooding out. Because you're never gonna, the no disturb zone isn't, it could, then I go back and forth because it could be within riverfront. But if it's 25-foot no disturb, it's really 25-foot no disturb adjacent to a BVW or bank, right? So even if it's in riverfront or bordering land subject to flooding, it doesn't really matter. So, because you're never going to.
No, it doesn't. You're right. And
Yeah.
what it means is that we need to get just what you're doing, the definitions, correct. So it is all consistent.
Yeah, so if the notice, I thought of that too. So if the no disturb is only for BVW, marsh, swamp, all that kind of, those bogs, those categories, then maybe we just take out all language about riverfront land subject to flooding.
That's exactly what that one was below.
Ken, what do you think?
It doesn't matter to me as long as it's consistent. So you would, like Rebecca said, you just spell it out, but spell it out in every area to exclude land subject to flooding. That's fine.
So I get the land subject to flooding one. Why riverfront?
Because if you include riverfront as in the definition of resource area, so if you scroll down a little bit, I think So see how it's included? So for inland areas, this includes land subject to flooding and riverfront. If you include riverfront in your definition of resource area, when you talk about a buffer zone, your definition of buffer zone is 100 feet from the resource area. That means you just put on 100 foot onto a riverfront.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So
Can I
it's-
ask why we wouldn't want to get that extra 100-foot buffer if we could?
You're now 300 feet from the river?
Yeah, it's not jurisdiction. We don't have the jurisdiction to do
Yeah,
that.
this is just a policy. This isn't. It's not a local bylaw or anything.
Right. We might if we have a bylaw, but until we do, we can't.
Yeah.
Well, we have jurisdiction within 200 feet.
Right, that's the riverfront
So,
area. But
so
not-
what
not-
you're saying is this would make it 300 if we put a buffer on top of that 200.
Right. If you don't change the way you
Okay.
defined it.
I got you. All right,
Okay.
makes sense. Yep. Yep,
It already has a buffer, it's just not,
Right.
not called a buffer.
right.
And
Also-
Rebecca, your definition of buffer zone then is still okay though?
All right, you have to go back. I don't remember what it was.
Just go back.
Yeah, I'm
a minute,
confused.
The buffer
So-
zone.
No,
so-
I know.
so
This is why
going-
we have to sort it out.
Yeah, so
Can-
you can't say resource area.
Can I
Yeah.
just ask a question? Do we, putting aside the language, when you get to Rebecca, do we want to make a thing that says that when you have riverfront area, that the first 25 feet from the bank
Yeah.
is covered by the bylaw, or is covered, we have the presumption that applies then?
But it is covered by the bylaw because you just said it's 25 feet from bank. And bank is a wetland resource area, or in this case, resource area is defined in this policy already.
Okay,
This-
so I don't know what I'm getting at is I just want to make sure we're all agreeing on what the rules should be, and then we can look at what the language, to make sure the language agrees with what we all agree to. Is that what we're saying? When it comes to riverfront, we're saying 25 feet from bank is what we intend the bylaw to create the presumption for. Am I correct?
Say that again?
That as to the riverfront area, we want this bylaw to create a presumption within 25 feet for the first 25 feet from the bank, from the bank. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, but it's not, see.
No,
here's the-
I just want to say if we can conform the line, I just want to make sure we're agreeing on your point is that what you had said before is that we somehow are expanding the 200 feet by this, and all we're saying is within the that we're trying to say we're trying to create 25 feet from what, and your point is that it does apply in riverfront, but it's 25 feet from the bank.
Yes,
right?
that's exactly right. Yep.
Right,
Okay.
because the
So
riverfront. is
yes,
100
so what
foot.
are we applying the 25 foot, the 25 feet to is for riverfront, it's your point. So you're saying that the semantics issue is that if we say 25 feet from the riverfront, we're saying 25 feet extending from the riverfront, which,
Right.
um,
It's not what we want to do. That's
Of
how it
course.
reads to me. That's how I would read it if I were reading.
yeah,
these
okay,
things.
well, since you're the expert, then then we can fix that. So all we're trying to do is make sure that we're talking about, so it will apply, this thing will apply, to riverfront, but only related to 25 feet from the bank.
Right. In
Okay.
which case, which is the next point, which was maybe we don't even discuss riverfront because you're not going to have riverfront unless you have bank. And if you have bank, it's already covered because bank is a resource area that has the 100-foot buffer zone of which we're regulating the first 25. So is it really necessary to even include riverfront in here at all?
But I thought the idea was that without the bylaw.
Yep.
Because you're saying you could apply that to the whole thing. Why do we even need a bylaw? Because it's within our jurisdiction, there's 100-foot buffer zone. So why do we need a bylaw that creates this presumption within 25 feet? And so the answer is why, are you saying that there is already a presumption?
No, that's not what I
But-
meant. What I meant was that if you have a river, right? And you have a bank of a river and the riverfront is measured 200 feet out from the top of bank, right?
I understand that.
Okay, so
So-
if we have if we have a policy that says it's a 25 no disturb zone from a regulated resource area, wetland resource area, which includes bank,
I understand.
25 feet from the bank, there's no discussion to be had about riverfront because it's 25 feet off the bank. Whether it's in riverfront or not is somewhat irrelevant.
I see.
But
Okay, I see what you're
So
saying.
I'm wondering if it's confusing the issue more by adding more language in about riverfront. Same with bordering land subject to flooding.
if that's the case, why can't you put bank as one of the resource areas?
I think it wasn't it? Was it included in there? I think you said for inland. Where was that for? Inland something or others. Do you need to include it in that one? Yes.
That's what I mean.
Yep.
I
it
would
is-
rather mention it as
Yep.
bank rather than omitting the whole thing, because it's a long way for someone who's not as knowledgeable to say, okay, riverfront goes to bank,
Yeah.
is a resource area, has a buffer. If you just say bank, then they'll know right
And
away.
that's part of the definition, bank is part of the definition of resource area.
Right, so it's included there, but wasn't included in this bulleted section. So we're gonna add it to the bulleted section. So it's gonna say wetland, streams, ponds, marshes, and banks, or something like that.
So the resource area, that's a definition from the regs. So if we're calling a resource area something different than what the regs call it out as, I'd prefer if it's called something different to
Yep.
make it unique for us. So if you call it a wetlands resource area, put that into definitions and make up whatever definition you want.
Yep.
Just don't leave it as resource area, because that has its own definition under the Wetlands Protection Act.
Let me just see where it says here that
Didn't you guys change it to resource area last time?
We changed it, yeah, the last meeting we changed it to resource.
We did, but we didn't consider the riverfront part that you're mentioning. We didn't catch that.
Yeah. Okay,
Didn't we
Yeah, I
borrow
mean,
this from another town?
not specifically, so it doesn't, not as one document. So I've taken pieces. So like the format, yes, and then some of the language from some, and then some of it was it's from all over the place, to be honest with you. And then I tried to make it consistent with all three. So if I changed it in one, I probably changed it in all three to try to reflect some type of consistency, even if it didn't apply perfectly. So for instance, that is the question about like riverfront. So for instance, it is one of your jurisdictional areas. And so if you're going to have it included as your jurisdictional area under your tree policy, let's say, do you want to keep it in even under this one so that they all look the same? Or native plant policy, you know what I'm saying? So then that's why I wanted to tell, we have to just figure out what we want to call it. And whether or not you want to have it the same for all three policies where there's definition of jurisdiction. And if you do, that might mean that you include an area, for instance, under the no disturb, like riverfront, that might not really apply under this policy, but you're just keeping the consistency. Or would you prefer to scratch those areas, that area out, or those jurisdictional areas out of this one policy? Because in all likelihood, it sort of overlaps, and now we're saying it's getting redundant. But it would be different from the other two. But whatever the wetland areas or wetland resource areas, or however you guys want to define it, it just has to be the same in all of them. And so Ken brings up a good point of not conflicting, because that would be confusing. So,
Always a good idea not to conflict with the act that controls us, yes.
and that's true.
oh, come on.
So it's just, we just have to come up with, and I think that's like one of the meetings, I think Paul had mentioned something about this language of wetland resource area versus regulated resource area.
Wetland resource area, that's what I brought up at the last meeting. Is that what you're talking? The
So-
question was, should it be wetland resource area? I don't know if we're talking about the same thing.
All right. I just, looking at this, I like that we state a purpose of the policy. And maybe, but that we have a statement called purpose and a statement called intent, which to me seems like they're synonymous terms. So we sort of jump from purpose and jurisdiction, and it just seems to me that that when you have the purpose and the intent, and then you have definitions, and finally you get to the meat of it. You know, it takes you 2/3 of the way that says, finally, when you get to this, when reviewing a project activity, we are going to presume that any alteration within 25 feet. And it just, you have to struggle to get to it. And I guess the point that I'm saying is that I would, and I think that the purpose and the intent is to, is to protect this and to do it by creating a presumption that within 25 feet will, that I don't know, to sort of, I don't know. It seems to me like when you write an agreement, you have your preambles, and your preambles should pretty much set out what you're trying to accomplish, is to create this special rule for the first 25 feet of certain portions of certain areas.
Yeah, I think, Peter, I think you're right. I think we're overcomplicating this.
I just think I want to get to the,
Can we determine the resource area topic, or
No, we have not.
can we do that before we talk about the rest of it, just to kill that conversation? Just to, resolve the initial question.
So how do we resolve it? Are we calling it a wetland resource area?
Well, here on the jurisdiction part, I don't mind stating what our jurisdiction is. I'm fine with if we decide to do that, but we do have jurisdiction over 200 feet in the, we do have, I mean, our jurisdiction is our jurisdiction, and,
No one's arguing that, Peter. We're just trying to get a definition of regulated resource areas. That's all.
Well, I guess to jump on that, I mean, if the intent under jurisdiction is to identify what our entire jurisdiction is, then you'd want to list it all, and then further down you clarify. Right? I mean, jurisdiction should be all inclusive. It may or may not apply to the 25 no disturb, but if we're saying this is the jurisdiction, when you want to list everything.
Okay, so you guys want to have the jurisdiction to cover everything and be in all of the policies, regardless of whether or not it may be applicable to some of the details of that policy. All I think is then if you, again, the big turtle is just, go ahead.
If we're stating what our jurisdiction is, it should, I'm thinking it should be all inclusive. It doesn't mean that is what this policy intent is.
Okay.
Know what I'm saying?
Yep, I'm cool. I think that was originally the idea. So then if you do that, okay, so
And
then
that's just my opinion.
need to figure out either separating them out or changing your definition of buffer zone, because it can't be 100 feet from the resource area if the resource area includes these two areas that we don't have a buffer zone for.
Agreed.
Okay. So however we want to sort that.
Well, there's 3 that don't have a buffer zone. Land under water bodies,
Yep.
and subject to flooding and riverfront.
Yeah, we didn't mention
That
land
apply to
water
us,
anywhere.
So riverfront, we can't, okay, banks, okay.
So how would you apply this to land under water bodies? And what are you talking about as far as alteration?
I don't think this would apply to land underwater with the,
Dredging or filling?
yeah, but this is
mean-
a disturb zone.
No, but that would be an
mean-
alteration to land underwater.
Wait,
If
say that
some-
again?
if someone's, I don't know. I think Ken's got the right idea.
Which is,
Right. Let's spell it out.
Keep it a separate definition for this, so you don't mix it up with the resource areas.
Okay, what do you want to call it?
I don't know. I mean, really what you're mostly concerned about is bank. The land under water bodies, unless they were digging to change the the land itself, which would be an alteration, it's not gonna happen, I wouldn't think, so. Kim, let's get some more out of Ken, because he's got some ideas.
No, Rebecca's got the idea. I don't know, wetlands resource areas, Rebecca, is how you originally put it. So as long as we define wetland resource areas, lowercase, that would work, right?
You can do it, that's kind of just how I've always done it, but I can see how that's confusing.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because I always think of wetland resource areas are the ones that are their BVW.
Yeah.
As long
Right.
as you define it,
Say again?
as long as you define it in the document, there's no,
Okay, we can do it that way. So then you can just add the word wetland back in to that first bullet and leave everything else the same. And then we'll put in it wetland resource area in the definition. And then, just add in the word wetland resource area or wetland in front of resource area when you're discussing buffer zone. Is that what you're saying?
Why can't you say within 25 feet of bank? Because that's what it's not gonna ever be different than that, is it?
Well, it can be 25 feet from BVW.
Well, that still has a bank, doesn't it?
But you would be 25 feet from the outermost.
The outermost of the wetland?
Yeah, so if you would, if you have a stream and then you have your bank, and you don't want to go 25 feet off the bank, because you could still be in the middle of BVW at that point. You want to go 25 feet off the BVW.
Yeah, that would be possible. Yep, that's true.
Which is probably why this didn't have bank included in there, because there was an assumption that there would be adjacent the wetlands that was the outermost.
Mhm.
But that doesn't have to be that way. And so I think bank should be in there.
All right, so what was the first wording you had out there? The very first thing you started with was wetland resource area?
Yeah, so are we going back to that and then having that be the difference between the wetlands as we know it and then the other regulated areas like floodplain and riverfront? Is that word wetland up front going to be the deciding factor there?
I will say this, I think it is I understand what Ken is saying, but I do think it is a distraction because I don't think, like, when you say that right off the top of my head, I say, oh, well, that's,
So
That's-
what's the definition in the regs?
All of the areas, including riverfront and buffer zone, but then it just defines, I'm sorry, in riverfront and floodplain, but then it just defines the buffer zone as only these. We could number these, so you can have the jurisdiction like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever, and then when you have buffer zone, you could say it only applies to those areas listed in number 1.
We should do that.
yeah,
Okay.
that's what they did in the regulations, yeah.
Yeah, we should just.
That way instead? So, okay, so you're gonna leave it as resource area. And then we're not gonna change that. Instead, we're gonna change the definition of buffer zone and we're gonna indicate that it only is a buffer zone off of those specific areas in number 1.
Yes, that makes sense to me.
So is your point under jurisdiction? Are you, I mean, is the goal of this to talk about all the areas, to describe the full scope of our jurisdiction? Or is it to say that among other, the following areas among others, and then just list the bullet ones, the ones we care about? We only care about, I guess we're saying that 25 feet applies to wetlands, streams, ponds, marshes, the 25 foot, those all have a buffer zone, right? Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, they have a buffer zone. Land subject to flooding, does that have a buffer zone? I'm just gonna
No.
ask. Okay, and do we care about that?
No, but that was the conversation that Bob was having earlier, saying your jurisdiction is your jurisdiction and just.
No, I understand that. No, but we're saying that we're not saying that. I guess what I'm my point is that
Mhm.
if we didn't have a statement of our jurisdiction, We just said, this policy applies to the following areas. You know, the buffer zone, buffer zones to a wetland, or a, not that this, or, scope of policy or something. My point is that, do we really need a general statement in this that talks about the scope of our overall jurisdiction? If we do, that's fine. But my point is that this is a limited policy that doesn't apply to, that has limited application to a laundry list of areas, and then list them. Because your point is, what would be the most helpful would say, this policy applies to the following areas, and then only list the areas that it applies to, and not talk about areas that it doesn't apply to.
Mhm. Right.
So all I'm getting at, so we could do one of two things. We could either have a jurisdiction that says that, if we want to have a recital, that we have, broad jurisdiction, just because people who read the policy might want to know what our jurisdiction is in general.
Yep.
That's fine. I don't care. But my point would be that then can't we just separately say, and then if we're going to have our jurisdiction, we can, then we could tailor it to the bullet points that we have here. Because if it doesn't apply, we can say it doesn't apply. It doesn't apply to, that is not, unless it is described above,
Mhm.
I don't care how we do it, but I guess my point is only that my point is I read this and, and I understand what you're saying. You're saying that that if we were trying to say it in plain English, we're concerned about BDWs, and we're concerned about, 3 or 4 things that we care about the 25 feet too. Maybe we just come out and say it. Because otherwise we're starting that it has maybe, that it applies to riverfront areas and, riverbanks, I guess what we would call it, right? I don't even know. Is that a word even?
Yep, you guys will have to decide if you want it, just like you said, all inclusive or
I
only
don't care.
applicable. I will tell you, it comes from your tree policy. Your tree policy, before I wrote up all 3 of these in the same format, your tree policy did have jurisdiction in it. So I
Okay.
kept it, and
Okay.
I added it to the other 2 because it was in there.
Okay, and if you want to say what our jurisdiction is every time, I don't mind saying it,
Yep.
but then maybe we should say that, I guess what I'm getting at is overall is that I'd like to get the, we do say the intent is to provide a no disturb zone within certain jurisdictional areas. And to
Yeah.
document, that's right. That at least for the first thing under intent. I like that. And I guess if we can combine the purpose and the intent, the way you talk about the first one, I'm just looking at this organizationally. The commission is a statutory authority, so we talk about what our mandate is, and that kind of flows into our jurisdiction. Pursuant to that, the commission has jurisdiction over the following areas. So it seems to me like the jurisdiction piece kind of relates to the first. To me, it relates to the first paragraph.
Mhm.
That
We're
makes
talking
sense.
about why we're formed and what we do and what is our jurisdiction. And then if we can, then say the purpose of now is this a policy? A policy. We don't call it. Is it a bylaw or is it a policy?
Policy right
Policy.
now.
Policy, it's not a bylaw.
Okay. So if we're gonna say the purpose of this policy, and then so I would combine the first and the third paragraph, and then the purpose and the intent somehow we got to combine, because the two are synonymous with each other.
Yeah, I agree. And I think couple of things. One is Rebecca just said, the same thing is true of our tree policy. The tree policy
Yeah, I
has
understand.
purpose, jurisdiction, intent. So
I-
as a practical matter, no offense to Rebecca, these could be better written.
Yeah, but that's fine. But
Right,
we're just let's just do this one. This is this is one that we are. Okay, I'm sorry that. So the I don't care whether we put but I guess it would be if we could combine the purpose and the policy. And I think purpose of this policy or the intent of the policy is to provide, require a 25-foot node within certain jurisdictional areas. That would be a, and then I kind of like everything you have under intent. And then maybe, and maybe we can get to the, we can put the definitions at the bottom. I mean, definitions
the
sometimes
end,
they go
right.
at the very beginning, at the very end,
Should they
but
be
not in the
in,
middle.
in
I
a
mean, I see them
index or
I
something?
see them in agreements both at the beginning and at the end. And sometimes at the end you put something at the beginning that said, capital S, terms not, used but not defined herein, blah blah blah. But I think we could just be a little less formal about it. And
Okay, you're
maybe
gonna have to change all three of them then.
Yep.
okay. I'm
So-
sorry to be. So the okay. And I like, so I mean, when I look at the stuff about the intent, it makes more that sort of gets to the heart of it, the intent. And then
So the way I look at like the purpose is this is giving a little bit of an educational background about why you do what you do. I think it's important, but it's not providing guidance by any means of how to interpret this policy or why you're applying. Well, it does give you guidance on why you're applying it. I personally think that it's like the preamble before you start talking about the performance standards, right? It's like it's all the science behind it all. I think that's great in there. And the intent is to give these people guidance on how they're going to implement that, implement a procedure so that we are mindful of all of the science that we just previously described. That if
Yeah.
it doesn't come across in that way, we should definitely redo it. I just want it to be, so I will also say that when I did all three of them, I did them sort of at the same time, and things fit better under one policy than the other. Sometimes it flows nicer in one than the other, but I tried to make them consistent so that it just seemed like they were a package. Doesn't work perfectly, but so I just think that however you end up rearranging, combining, doing whatever, we'll just have to do it for all of them. That's my thought. I mean, I suppose you don't really have to do it for all of them, but it just made it seem more logical to me to have it all be somewhat similar.
Mhm.
No, I like consistency.
It's the hobgoblin of small minds consistency.
Can we look at one of the other policies and just see read it to see how it's gonna link up with this?
Yeah. Let's see, what do you want to look at? That was a no disturb. Native
Look at the tree,
planting.
look at the tree removal policy.
Looking. I have Ken's email with the comments. I'm having a hard time finding the policy, native planting. I don't see the last version handy of the tree policy. I just have Ken's comments. Oh, it's attached. Got it. Oh, no. Wait a minute, native planting or tree? We got native planting right here. Tree of.
Okay, let's look at that. Let's look at that, Bob.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Purpose, jurisdiction, intent.
And definitions. right, which version is this?
This is what,
This is from the
this
email.
is, Ken sent this on December 28th.
Yep.
I don't think I had any comments. I think you guys just made some edits.
We did.
Bob, if you open it up with Google Docs, you'll probably be able to see the red line.
Yeah. Brian. This was a smaller document, I thought. Not sure why it's taking so long.
Feel like it's waiting on the Jeopardy theme music.
The colors are nice though.
Ah, there we go.
There it is.
Yeah, we have the same well and resource area there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything was written the same, so if we corrected in one, I just think we should correct in all.
Makes sense.
I think that is consistent with, with the tree policy that's been around. It's just I added the town land. Yeah.
All right, so Rebecca, you didn't have any other
No.
comments? Other than we'd
Yeah,
want
and this
to,
was, well, this definition is fine, right? Rebecca, these definitions here. I mean, the use of these terms here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, whatever we end up sorting out in the other one, I think we should just carry over.
yes. All right, what do you want to do next?
Might as well leave that open because
We'll go back to
tree. Let's say.
I'm not seeing, I just see Ken's comments that we replied to. I'm not finding a draft.
Oh, the one
No,
I
he
sent.
sent the draft, and then he sent his comments saying Rebecca's draft didn't include the latest draft of our draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not finding that prior one.
So I sent it to you guys on December 19th at 2:21, all three.
But yours didn't include Ken's revised version.
No,
right?
I only have the email that mentioned the comparisons.
All right.
Ken, can you open up your revised version of it?
Ken stepped away for a minute.
All right,
Ken
I'm
did?
going. We're at 12:19.
That's when I sent, yeah.
Yeah, but don't look at that one. That does not include Ken's revisions.
All right, so,
I didn't see
oh,
Ken's
I just
revision.
have the email with Ken's revisions,
Yeah.
no document though.
Me too.
Ken sent it.
I don't know, I get too many emails and I'm having trouble with my email because I'm full. All right, so let me just go to Ken's comments. And those were last week, I think. Let's see, here they are. Wait a minute, no, that's it, not it. Oh, here it is, sorry. All right, let me share this. Okay,
He sent it on
yep.
11/29 as his revised tree policy revisions. If you're looking for his,
So here's the edits. I just don't have the attachment. Not sure where it went.
he was comparing Rebecca's version to his version that he sent on 11/29.
Yeah, I like the comments he wanted to put back in that were in the original.
You have to read through it because sometimes I kept almost everything unless I thought it was redundant and just said. Because sometimes things were repeated and it would have been weird to say them in a bunch of different places.
So
Or
Rebecca, when you prepared yours, did you have his 11/29 version?
no, 11/29 version.
We
Yeah.
made edits, I think, at a meeting that you were not at.
Oh, is that? No, I don't have, maybe I didn't know that.
So that's why, then that's what Ken's saying here.
Oh,
And we're putting this stuff back in
oh, that should be easy enough
that
then.
we added back in November.
And
Oh, it's
Right.
really funny because the tree policy, the last amendment was November 22, so I thought you meant November 22.
it was a November 23,
Yeah,
and
I'm
it,
getting that now.
it came about because the question was, what if we do if the trees, if we don't necessarily want to replace the tree? Say if it looks dying, or if it's in a dense area, or it just doesn't make sense to replace the tree and we're okay with it. We had no wiggle room to facilitate that.
Okay,
So there was a second kind of tree subject to the policy. It was a live, healthy tree, which it said live trees. It never said healthy live trees.
okay,
And then the second that I added was something that appears to be dead, dying, disease, heavily rotted, uprooted, blah, blah, blah. And then we had a little wiggle room that says we'll determine if it needs to be replaced or something like that.
so why
Right,
don't
and
we
the
just
reason
stick
that
this
came-
language in the other one?
So there must be a version control issue here. But yeah, this came up as a result of a condition where a tree was live but was dying. And the arborist said it will not make it. And then Elaine agreed that, it wasn't gonna make it. So this gave us the ability to say, go ahead and take the tree.
So was the tree removal policy had another amended date of
I
November
just sent it to you. He revised it, Ken. He sent it on 11/29. I just resent it.
Yeah, it was November 23, not
Yeah,
just,
el-
yeah.
11/29/23.
Unfortunately, we think about this every November.
Okay, I have it. I just have to pull it up. So can we just work this new language, Ken, that's listed in your email into the reformatted document and then have one final thing?
If you agree with it,
You agree with it, yes.
we have already agreed with
Yeah, we
this.
agreed at
Right.
one of these meetings.
Well, all right, let's go back. Let me rephrase that. Can we right now agree on where to insert it in the newer format?
I don't have the new format. Email.
Rebecca sent it on the same day she sent the other one.
I don't know what to do with it. I can't find it.
Poor Bob.
Is there something
I
really?
just get too many emails, I'll tell you. Somebody else could share and
Yeah,
drive if they'd like.
I'm looking for it. Just my version was all marked up because I was trying to do a compare.
I don't know what is happening to my email, but it's pulling up on the lap. I'm using my laptop, but on the work one, it's showing me emails. Oh, here it is.
All right, I got Teresa's one she just forwarded.
But that's not the one that, that's not,
Okay, that's it. Here we go.
That's not the one we want to see.
no, because
Okay.
Rebecca reformatted that.
Okay.
So the one that I have on the screen right now should be Rebecca's latest version,
Okay.
right?
Oh, so let's put in. Can we put in your stuff?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that.
Hold on a second.
Put it back. Put it back.
Say again.
I said, put it back. Put it back. His comments. So yeah, we had a version. I don't know what you want to call it.
So you added. We have to add in the contact information. Was that new or was that from an old one? Oh, that was from the old one.
Yeah, was that just missing or did you strike that, Rebecca?
So on the letterhead, it had an email address.
Okay. So it's redundant.
Well, not necessarily. None of the other ones had it. So
So
yeah,
I don't think it has the address for the.
It doesn't have an email
conservation.
address, it has a website.
on the top.
Ah,
bang,
there we
bang,
go.
Beautiful.
That's actually, but so
I don't know.
that's
So,
actually
what?
you
Who am I
guys,
supposed
that
to
email
card?
address.
Wanna fill it in?
Somebody's talking. I'm not sure where it's coming. I just muted somebody.
So this letterhead is your email address. So we can put it back in because that wouldn't be the office. The phone number is the office, but that email address is the one that you guys check.
Okay, that's fine.
So let's put it back in. I can put that back in. Can we just put it in right now so that we can get this? I don't want to have it keep hanging around every meeting.
Oh,
Do you know-
Rebecca, why not?
Analysis paralysis. If we're just gonna keep going over it too many, it'll just never
I
happen.
agree. All
Yeah.
right, so we, this is the one we want to revise. Ken, are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
You
I just don't know where to put it. That's all.
All right, let me look.
You were born ready, Ken.
Words out of my mouth. It was. It'll be a little tricky.
Well, there's
'cause
a
the headings
letter,
were
there's
all
something for written requests. No, that. Oh, how about under review and approval process? So previously it had said that landowners must obtain prior permission. And that landowners are encouraged to contact the office at this number or to discuss any work.
Where is? No, but it had to do with must obtain. Where's the guts of this about getting permission? That's what it was before.
It's right, and this is what I was saying, it gets
How about
chopped up
this
and moved around.
up here. Tree requests made in writing shall be submitted to the
Oh,
conservation.
there we go.
Oops, sorry.
This had to do with before the work, right? It said all landowners are encouraged to contact the conservation office. or the email to discuss any proposed work.
Yeah, that was under, in between jurisdiction and purpose before.
Right.
So I mean, I like the new spot you guys picked. I think that works.
Hold on.
You need two screens so you can cut and paste from the other one.
What is it? Can someone tell me what it is?
Oh, just put a department. Conservation Department, all. Judy, is that what it is? All one word? Now you got me crazy. Yeah, it's all one word. At wakefield.ma.us.
.us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so that takes care of that one. All right, then you guys have the wiggle room language, add November related to trees in a bad shape. Okay, so where it says trees at least 6 in diameter, measured 4 feet off the ground, which appear to be dying. So that, let's do that one next. You had previously in, let's see where it
Yeah.
is. Oh,
Right there.
So we had healthy.
you have it already. Okay.
We had healthy live.
So in your tree subject of, you had two sections. One is tree subject to policy and one is mitigation section.
Yeah, you diced it up a little bit.
Did we say, okay, dead, dying, or deceased? Okay, got that. Dying, dead, or diseased.
Okay, so you've got the healthy part. And then you're adding in which appear to be dying, dead, diseased, heavily rotting, uprooted, in immediate danger of toppling. All right, so you have that. So those two are all set?
All healthy.
You need a space between the and ground.
So wait a minute, the next paragraph. If the homeowner contends the tree is dead, diseased.
Yeah, that was, I think that was the old language.
Yeah, we already covered that, right?
Yeah. Um,
So back to applicability. We
Wait.
are saying measured at least 6 inches in diameter, measured 4 feet off the ground. We're saying that twice.
Yeah,
We don't really need to.
no.
Yeah, maybe live, maybe that needs to go in front or something.
Well, let me ask you this: how can it be healthy and which appear to be dying, dead, disease? How could it be healthy and that all at one time?
Or
two different
We've-
ones. There
or
was two
trees,
bullets.
which
We
Fair.
just want to have perfect clarity here.
The original had two bullets. That's why it was. Let me go back. The first one was like this. It was bulleted.
It's
As
all
having
right.
subjects, trees
Right, you had
subject to the
all live
policy. It was-
trees, and then the second one was trees at least, right. It's just as you said, Ken, it had two bullets.
Right. I think we're shying away from bullets in this version, so which is fine.
So wait, what is that? I'm sorry, the applicability.
The original section was called trees subject to
To
policy.
this policy, right.
So we're trying to, and it was purposely broken out to mention the dead,
Right,
dying,
both it,
disease
right.
for other sections.
Sorry, the So you're saying it applies both to healthy trees and diseased trees, as long as they're 6 inches in diameter, measured 4 feet off the ground.
I
And,
think
and-
that
and so
whole
the difference
thing-
is that the first category you got to replace, and the second category what is the difference between the two? I mean, because basically it's saying that it applies to all healthy live trees at least 6 inches in diameter, measured 4 feet off the ground. I mean, aren't you? Isn't every tree that is 6 inches in diameter, 4 feet off the ground, going to be in one of those 2 bullet points?
Yes.
Yes, but we didn't have any differentiation between live trees and dead trees. So it just said a tree. So live trees. So because it said live trees, we didn't have the wiggle room to not
Right.
need a replacement. So by differentiating those two, you can go back and say the dying ones don't need it, don't need replacements.
Right. So my point is that you're trying to have category 1 and category 2, right? And category,
That's right.
okay, I understand. Um,
It's a long
okay.
sentence if you smush them together, put it that way.
No, I understand. So
Well, it needs to be a space between off the ground and the first line. Measured 4 feet off. Yeah. There you go.
There's a space.
okay.
It's a tiny space.
So these are all trees in the buffer, located in the buffer zone, right? Applicability. Okay.
This doesn't make sense to me.
Well, we haven't clarified that the wiggle room part yet.
So it applies to all healthy live trees, 6 inches, measured 4 feet off the ground, period.
Those are the ones that require some sort of replication.
Okay, so can we just make that a sentence?
Yeah. Well, can we say, I mean, if you want to, is your point that the policy applies to all live trees at least 6 inches in the air and measured 4 feet off the ground that are in the buffer zone, or that are in wetlands or buffer zones, comma, including, and then, healthy live trees and trees that are dying, disease, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? You can call them compromised trees or something. I don't care what you call them, but because your point is that you're breaking it all out. You're saying it applies to all trees, but you're breaking it out into 2 categories, one of which you got to pay and the other you don't, right?
Yeah, we've lost something between the versions here, because it was,
This
I
doesn't make
think,
sense to me.
it was clear before. If we look at Ken's comments in that email, it seemed very clear. I think there's an issue again with the versions.
So the new version said, because I didn't have the healthy stuff in there, all it said was it applies to all live trees 6 inches in diameter, measured 4 feet off the ground. They're subject to this policy. And then it said, if the homeowner contends the tree is dead or diseased and therefore compromised, a letter from an arborist may be required.
No.
So you're trying, let's try to make wiggle room off of that. So you have a live tree that's 6 inches off the ground. You want to clarify that it has to be healthy. Isn't that inherent in if it contends the tree is dead or diseased and therefore compromised? Isn't that the out for if it's alive but not, because it says it's dying
Yes, that's the
or
out.
diseased?
It may not require replacement under that latter condition.
So that's an exception. Is that what it is?
Yes,
Or discretion is what you're looking for is discretion?
yes.
Okay, let me think. Hold on. Tree subject. I'm looking at the old one and the new one. So it's the same language in the old one and the new one. It's just combined in a sentence. That's it. Okay. So only thing I changed was I bolded the word live. So going back to tree sub, let me read it again.
Can we actually just call them all healthy trees and compromised trees? Maybe have a definition, because then you can just say all healthy trees will be subject to the policy, all compromised trees,
Sure.
Yeah, if it's healthy, it's going to be live. So
Yep.
live is kind of redundant.
Yep. Or if it was just that it applies to all these healthy trees. If the homeowner feels their tree is not healthy and it is in one of it's compromised in one of these categories, then it may not
Yeah.
apply to them.
Yeah.
You just get an arborist to say it, and then you're all set. That's how I read it the first time.
That's the intent.
But you guys wanted more wiggle room. Trees which may appear.
Well, we added like, I think we added dying or some sort of compromised language.
Heavily rotting, uprooted,
So
immediate.
why don't we just
danger,
add that?
well,
So you have applicability is all healthy trees with that end of sentence, and then you have, where'd it go? Hold on. If the homeowner contends that the tree is, or the tree appears to be dying, dead, diseased, heavily rotted, uprooted, or in immediate danger of toppling or otherwise compromised, they just get a letter for attesting to that and submit it to the commission.
Yes.
yes, but that does.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, wait, what?
Well, or we could make that judgment also, like Elaine or whoever could go out and say, yeah, clearly this tree is uprooted. We
Yep.
don't need a arborist letter.
So here it says the commission, this is a new language that was, the commission will determine if trees which are documented as being compromised will require replacement.
Okay. So then you could do what Peter said and just have a definition of the compromised tree. Which includes dying, dead, disease, rotting, uprooted, etc. Or you can put it in this paragraph.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Compromised
works.
trees at least measure 4 feet off the ground, comma, including trees which appear to be dying, dead, right? You know what I mean? That way you don't have to use, you don't have to have a bunch of fancy definition
Yep.
Yep.
or otherwise heavily. Oh, wait, okay, that's fine. That's, yeah.
All right, so then.
Okay, so the loss of healthy trees, so we're getting rid of live.
I guess this is redundant. You probably don't need that.
No, you should say, well, no,
No, that's fine. Just take
That's
out the
fine.
word live.
I like it. Just get rid of the word live. The loss of healthy trees. Yeah,
So shouldn't that sentence go below the applicability? Below where you are right now, inserted between those two? Healthy trees at least 6-inch diameter, measure 4 feet off the ground.
yeah. So the idea would be, then I want to say, then, because we
Yeah.
start out by saying,
That's the idea.
okay, so can we say that, we say healthy trees,
You can scratch the loss of healthy trees, right? So keep it one sentence. Healthy trees at least 6 inches of diameter, measured 4 feet off the ground, especially those removed within a 20-foot buffer, shall require replacement as described below.
Perfect.
And then we clarify compromised trees, blah, blah, blah.
Thank you. I don't know if you need especially those removed from within 25 feet.
well, are we gonna tell people like if you have a tree that's 75 feet out? I mean, can we use discretion as to trees that are, 75 feet away from the buffer zone and, because it seems to me like that is a,
Well, this still would, this
Well,
still
I
would
mean,
be
you
in the
just conflicted-
buffer.
You just
Right there.
conflicted with your 25 no disturb zone. Why don't you take that out? 25-foot buffer. Now you guys you're talking about work within the 25 feet, and now you have a 25 feet no disturb zone.
Wait, what are you saying, Rebecca?
Okay, I'm saying that you say healthy trees at least 6 inches, especially those removed within the 25-foot buffer. Well, now you have tree removal within 25 feet, and don't you have a 25-foot no disturb, which includes not doing tree removal?
Yeah, I would take out especially within the 25 foot. I don't
Yeah,
think.
just because you don't want any conflicts,
Right.
we all know this, and that way you're not conflicting with any language that's then in the.
Okay, but can I make a suggestion though that, I mean, don't we have situations where someone has a tree that's in their, that they have a 25-foot buffer zone up to the back of their house, then they have another 25 feet into the front of the house, and then they have one by the street in the front of the house that's nowhere near, that it's not providing any benefit whatsoever, and they want to cut it down. Are we going to make them replace it? If it's 80 feet away from the buffer zone and it's the houses between the buffer zone and all I'm getting at is that the all I'm getting at here is that we have found that time and time again we're having trouble with this is because we find that this very fact oriented. I mean, and
So
even in
we're letting them get away with it then. If it's a live tree and it's in their front yard,
Yeah.
but it's still within the buffer, then we would require replacement or
Yeah.
money. So why give them that wiggle room if it's live?
but if
Doesn't
it's
matter if it's
providing
in our
no,
jurisdiction,
yeah, if it's
then they
within
need
our,
to pay. Even if they don't replace it, then they would pay.
what about, okay, so what if you have a grove of 5 trees and if you cut 2 of them down, the other 3 would grow taller and be more healthy? Yeah, you got to pay. I guess all I'm saying is, the issue I have with this is that I'm just very concerned about that we're coming down to the very people that come to us and try to be good are the ones that we're coming down hard on, and the people that, because my worry is that 2 out of 3 people just cut them and with no consequence, and the ones that come to us and even though it really doesn't provide that much benefit to the wetland. So all I'm getting at is that I think we've struggled with this before, and I think we wrestle with this in our meetings, that that some of these are pretty fact-based. I mean, and we do care whether they're, whether something is, obviously providing a benefit to the buffer zone versus something that probably isn't, but it technically falls within the thing. Yeah, and I
I
understand.
think we struggle with if the tree is obviously dead and it doesn't provide value. I think that one we struggle with, but I don't think we struggle with replacing a live tree that they just want to take down just because they want to take down.
I
So
agree.
if it's an immediate danger of falling, which is
Yeah.
what we call
All right.
compromise, then
Well,
yeah, you're right. You're right. There's 5 trees. It's fine. But if it's just a tree in their front yard, which is
all
still
right,
in
all
the
right.
buffer,
I guess I can just always close my eyes and imagine situations where, and the idea, for example, the idea of the 25-foot, the bylaw, the policy is that we make exceptions in all cases. I mean, we leave ourselves leeway in all cases. I just read this is we don't have discretion. We're taking away our own discretion, which doesn't sound right to me. I just feel that way.
Peter, it's only a policy.
Okay.
I mean, the edits we're
Can I
making
say
was
something
to
else?
give us discretion.
So we need to change the second part of this. We need to say, compromise trees at least 6 inches in diameter, blah blah blah. May require replacement in the discretion of the commission.
There you go.
And then take out the next sentence.
Mm-hmm.
that's what it says. It's a
Yeah,
commission
take
determine.
out the next sentence. Yeah, I'm just making it a sentence. That's all, Ken. Just take out that sentence now. Okay.
I like that. That's fine. I have
So
no issue
Peter,
with that.
this last sentence is providing us wiggle room to say,
Yep, on that, on the
no,
compromise. I think the compromise trees we have exactly right. I really do. Because you know what, and I can see situations where we really want them to do something, even if, they're cutting something down that's diseased. But maybe we do want them to do something. because it is providing habitat or something. It's the healthy tree that I'm just curious whether that if we determine that it's really providing no benefit to the resource area.
Well, we can vote that way if we want to.
Okay, that's all I'm getting at really, is I could just see if it's, if it's north, doesn't provide any sunshine, or, there's no shade, it doesn't provide, it's at the northern end of edge of a wetland, and we're not getting any benefit out of it. Like, do we really need to stick it to people? That's all.
Rebecca,
Yeah.
is there a possibility, I know this is a tree replacement policy, but could this be converted into a condition for an order of conditions? We could add to our standard, or would that make any sense?
Sure, you could say tree removal has to be in accordance with your policy.
Yeah, okay.
Or you could have as part of a wetland bylaw.
Which we're not talking
Segue.
about yet.
Wait till we talk about that, Judy. That'll take no time at all to discuss.
So
Can I just point something out in regard to this tree policy? The reason that the commission took this on a couple of years ago was because of the rapid rate of tree removals across town. So I think that's kind of lost in this conversation. I understand Peter's point, but even if it's not providing direct canopy to the wetland, if it's within 25 feet, it's providing benefit.
You know what? I will agree with you that it was in 25, but we're saying if it's 85 feet out.
Because anything within 100 would be jurisdictional.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
That is my point. That is
but
my
it
point.
provides value no matter what.
Exactly. It's within the resource area. And if it's
Mhm.
if the rapid rate of tree removal, I think if there were a spreadsheet showing the number of trees that were taken down, even in the last 4 years, it's just ridiculous, the numbers that have come down. And I thought this would help slow the pace. Be like an eye opener to people why trees need to be retained. I understand not every tree can stay, houses are too close to trees. I get that. But I
Hey, can
think
you scroll back up to the top? I just
starting
want
on the other side is worse.
to see how we kind of led this thing off. All right, so it does say buffer zone. So yeah, anything within 100 feet, it's gonna be jurisdictional.
All right.
So
And we do, and I will say the purpose is protection of trees, and it doesn't really talk about it doesn't focus exclusively on, I will give you that it doesn't focus exclusively on protection of the wetlands. It's silent on that.
That was the purpose of why it was written that way.
All right.
This is almost beyond, this is beyond the Wetlands Protection Act, but our jurisdiction, there's the other statute that gives us jurisdiction over more than just wetlands, I guess, right? So.
Yeah, and on the thing, do we have, I just don't want to be in a situation where we just don't think it makes sense, but we have to do it because we've created this policy. I mean, no
one will think that. I mean, literally no one will think that.
Okay, got it. Then I'm fine.
we have water uptake in here anywhere? Oh, we got minimizing stormwater runoff.
Yeah, I think you're fine. I'm fine with it. I agree with you now. You guys would convince me. Since I'm the only one on the opposite side of this, that kind of means I'm probably wrong.
No, Peter, I understand exactly what you're saying. And there have been cases where we had a case, John Ogren came before us. We had a property near,
Yeah.
the other church, and we had a tree in the front yard that needed to come down. And it was within 100 feet, but it was like, whatever, 90 feet away, or whatever it was. So I understand what you're saying.
Okay. So going up to that healthy trees and compromised trees, which I like the way you underline that and all, but can we just get rid of the word all there and under applicability? Because I like the way it starts out with compromised trees and healthy trees. Just get rid of the word all under applicability. Doesn't add anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like it the way you start out with the underlined word right at the very beginning. There.
Yeah. Emphasizes.
Parallelism.
What happened to ground? It's like mushed.
Yeah.
It's adding a space.
Something's weird with the spacing there. There's a
So
space, but it's tiny.
the last of the language that was added was the next section. And this was meant to, a little bit of what Peter was saying. This is if you can't, there was a section that said you have to put it
Right.
back within the 25 foot or whatever. And we thought that wasn't really appropriate in case it just didn't make sense to put it where it came from. We could put it somewhere else that we decide on, which we do anyways.
Yeah.
It just wasn't in the thing. So I don't know where to put this. I haven't
There's a
looked.
section called tree planting requirements. Keep going. There it is. And it's sort of going along with your, it's like, well, the first bullet.
The first bullet, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, just maybe replace the first bullet with what you wrote.
Right.
Well, I can understand why Congress has a hard job, you know. Now, it would be like we're trying to do this, and then we had lobbyists that were, that were calling us up and telling us to make some changes.
Hey, at least we show up and
Yeah.
say to the job's done and don't take a recess and disappear for a month.
I want to get one of them gold bars.
Gold bars.
Yeah, that guy senator or whatever he was has gotten
Oh yeah.
taking bribes and stuff. His wife was getting shit and he got a gold bar.
Yeah.
So are we done with this one with the exception of coming up with some jurisdiction, how you guys want to do that? Can we do that now?
Yeah. So we could just like do this.
Yeah, that has to be formatted too, Ken. Thank you. I saw that. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah, different size fonts.
Yeah, I think it's different.
Can you scroll up to the very beginning just so we can just go through the the whole
What you did
idea
zone
here?
too. I can fix it too. It doesn't have to be perfect, Ken.
How would you guys? Okay, go ahead.
So then we just have to sort out how you guys want to do jurisdiction. Whether you want it to be the same everywhere and how you want it to be done. We're all the way back to that round around conversation.
I do feel like it should be the same in every policy.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
what did you say? I'm sorry. What did you say, Trish? I missed it.
It should be the same in every policy.
Okay.
Right.
So can I make a just a little bit of making a if we're going to make it the same. I actually look at the first three, the first three things as sort of one is we start out with mention the statute, and then under the WPA the commission has jurisdiction over the following areas, and maybe just combine the three and then say one goal of the commission is to, in other words, these are meant to be general things of general nature. I mean, starting at the top, talking about the act, and then just maybe follow that with get rid of the word jurisdiction. Get rid of the heading, but just say, under the act, pursuant to the WPA, the commission has jurisdiction over the following areas, and then get rid of the word purpose, and then follow that with one goal of the commission is to is to encourage the preservation, an important goal of the important not objective, an important what is the right word? Not objective, not I don't want to say policy, I want to say priority or something of the commission is to encourage the preservation of the trees. So in other words, have some general, just you start out with three things that, because when you come over to the other, when you bring it over to the bylaw, to the 25-foot bylaw, that whole purpose thing is really just talking about conservation generally. It's a very general, these are all general statements about prior, what the commission, how, we're authorized by the state, we have first jurisdiction and, and a key priority is blah. Then we start to get down to the specifics, and then we can say intent of, purpose of policy or intent of policy. Then people know we're going from general statements to the meat of the policy, is to provide guidance to applicants. I don't know, and just a thought. And that way we don't have something called purpose and intent, which just kind of bothers me because it just seems like and one is a general, one is one of the general, as a general priority or a general objective. And then we get into the intent of the policy. Because really the purpose of this policy is to encourage the preservation of trees. That's a goal of the commission more than that's more a general goal of the commission and not just this policy. This is what we do. This is one of our goals. And then people know when we get down to the meat, we're doing something to further the goal. That's a general goal, a long-standing goal. And you guys can disagree with me.
All right,
But all those, what? Okay. Well,
Rebecca disagrees.
all right.
That's my favorite part.
You never disagree. You're not,
You're destroying poor Rebecca here.
Nope.
Not-
All good.
no, I'm not. I'm just going from general to.
I know, no.
I wouldn't change anything.
Again,
This is just moving stuff around. That's all.
yeah,
I'm not. I like talking about the preservation of trees. I like a statement that that it's a longstanding goal of the commission is to encourage the preservation and protection of trees.
are you familiar with the
why?
expression, the perfect is the enemy of the good?
All right, I'm gonna give up then. I give up.
Rebecca, I just sent it to you. I just sent the latest version to you.
Of the tree?
Yes.
As soon as we figure out the jurisdiction language, I'd love to vote on it.
Didn't we already figure out in the other 25-foot non-disturbed? We didn't, Rebecca?
I don't think you guys formally did that, no.
I
Well-
think we did. I thought we did.
I thought we were just gonna leave the definition of what our jurisdiction is.
Yeah, our overall jurisdiction. That's what I'm saying. It's a general statement of our overall jurisdiction under the Wetlands Protection Act.
Okay, so for all of the jurisdictions, for all three policies, you wanted
Same.
to say,
Same thing.
just tell me what you wanted to say, Peter. You wanted to say,
Well, what about the one we
not
have?
listed
right here?
out. Say again?
What about just the one we have right here? Don't they all say that?
Well, you guys edited this last time.
Okay.
This is what was included in the tree policy originally. I carried that language to all three
Oh,
documents. Then you guys went
okay.
to the no disturb zone and you marked it all up. So then after the markups, I went through and I said, okay, but if you
All right,
mark it
right.
all up like that, then we have some problems. So we just gotta figure out one thing. And I don't know, and I don't think we did, Therese. I don't think we came up exactly. If we did, I missed it. I apologize.
No, no.
I
I
don't
just-
have a lot. Yeah, I don't have a lot of strong. I guess my point is that I think that we should say the same thing across the board about what our overall jurisdiction is, and anything that we pin, any limitations that we put on an application of the policy will be below where we have the specifics.
So, in looking at this right in front of us, this is correct, right? Right, because it buffer zones. It's wetlands. Right? Is this correct the way it is now?
I mean,
There's
I
no more
probably would write it a little different, maybe.
What would you do? What would you change?
Right.
So
Defined as 100 year zones. Wetland.
you have your wetland areas. I would sort of do it as we were leaning, in my opinion, I would do it as we were leaning towards in the no disturb, which is your wetland areas, including, banks and BVWs.
Yep.
That's what we call them, and
Yep.
in the regs and streams, ponds, and marshes. You can put all of that in there. Doesn't
That was
matter.
the other one in the no disturb, right?
Yeah, I would do that. I wouldn't call it resource area though, unless you called it, like we were saying, wetland resource area with a small W or whatever.
Because we're listing out the resource areas.
Yep, or you could say wetland areas or I don't know what you want to say, but, and then separate out the floodplain riverfront. Because, or maybe I would do the wetland areas, then the buffer zone, and then maybe I would, I don't know, it doesn't really matter, I guess, how you order them. But I just need the wetland areas that have buffer zones to be distinct and separate from floodplains and riverfronts. As long as those are
land
separated
under water.
out, because you don't want your, as talking earlier, we don't want our buffer zones to be off of the floodplains and buffer zones. I mean, and riverfronts. So we just have to ensure that there's no, and the biggest conflict is, of course, in the no disturb zone. That's why we all started that way. But I mean, you could say, I mean, you could either just put it out in plain words, wetland areas like streams, ponds, banks, whatever, and have it sort of be casual language, or you could go reference the regulation and say inland bank, and and reference it that way as defined in, and you could cite it if you wanted to do it that way instead.
And right. And we're not limiting ourselves. I mean, we could just say, under the WPA, the commission has jurisdiction over the following areas or something. I don't care what my point is only that we can say, I guess my point is, I don't think we have to worry about missing something or we're not inadvertently limiting our own jurisdiction by making a statement, are we? I mean, we're.
Just list them as they are in the act.
So you could do bank. It says bank, freshwater, wetland, marsh, swamp.
And we probably don't need fisheries or tidal zones or whatever the other one was. Salt marsh or probably don't need those ones.
I don't need any coastals.
Exactly.
Or
Short
you
of
could
that, though.
you could go down the inland one, you could just say bank, BBW, land underwater waterways. And then you could have land subject to flooding. I mean, you could do it that way.
Yeah.
So you could do bank, and how they have it right here on page 1 is bank, and then in parentheses, naturally occurring banks and beaches. Then it says BVW, and in parentheses, wet meadows, marshes, swamps, and bogs. And then it says land under water bodies and waterways, and then parentheses under any creek, river, stream, pond, or lake. That's not bad. You want to just take it right from there?
Yes. Why not? It's already defined.
Yes.
And then, well, that'll be under our. You could call it. I mean, do you want to call it? I see the problem was you guys were, from what I saw, like you didn't like the wetland resource area. You didn't like the wetland word in there.
No, we were just trying to, we were trying just to use a definition, that's all. But we could call it anything. We could call it Herman.
Right, so do you want to go back to that? Do you want to go wetland resource areas and then including bank with a parentheses, BVW with parentheses, land underwater parentheses. And then the next one is land subject to flooding, parentheses, bordering isolated, and then riverfront. And then we'll define the buffer zone to be 100 feet off of, and if you want to number them, we can number them, I don't care. But if we say wetland resource areas, and then if you want to further define it as under definitions, wetland resource areas, you can, and we could put the citations to the regulations if you wanted.
Okay, now, do you want to do that right now? Poor Ken?
Yeah, yep.
Ken, you ready, Ken?
Okay.
Go.
Ken, if you have your regulations in front of you, it's literally page 1, like the table of contents. If not, I'm happy to read it. I didn't know whatever's easiest for you. You just tell me what's easiest for you.
No, I'm opening it up. Hold on.
Okay.
please.
Right there. Yep. See how it says
Uh,
10.5 bank, naturally occurring banks and beaches. That's what I just read to you guys. So 10.5455, 56, and then under wetland resources, and then 5.7 and 5.8 are their own separate, and then the buffer zone references 5.4, 5.5, and 5.6.
so that's how I did find it in the no disturb policy, by the way. I said 25 through 35 and 54 to 58.
Yeah, but then there was the added sentence. And in the added, I saw that, but then the sentence right after that said inland, blah, 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 and it included riverfront. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, go back. Is that the?
Oops, sorry. Yeah, so
It says for inland, and then it included the other stuff too. So then it was,
but riverfront area is 58.
no, in the words.
Right. So I just teased out.
See where it
Yeah.
says for inland, these include land under bank, BVW, land separated flooding and riverfront area. And so that's land separated flooding and riverfront area are now included under the definition of resource area.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, but you're asking me to do that on the tree policy now, because you mentioned riverfront area. So it would apply for this policy, but not the other one? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying all three policies would have a wetland area, a wetland resource area that is bank, BVW, and waterways, and then that's one bullet, and that's called wetland resource area.
Yeah.
And then there would be another bullet that says land subject to flooding, and then another one that says riverfront. Yep. That's for the jurisdiction. And then in the talk of buffer zone.
Hold on, just start from the beginning. I might as well read
Okay.
it now.
All right. So it says bank, naturally occurring banks and beaches, and then it would be BVW, which includes wet meadows, marshes, swamps, and bogs.
Well, do we have to spell that out?
It's up to you guys. Because the previous jurisdiction, as you can see, had sort of more like common language. So I wasn't sure which way you wanted to go.
Whatever you want. I'm happy with any of it.
It's whatever you guys want. You have to vote on it.
All right, what are the other ones? Wet meadows, what? Sorry.
Marshes,
Mhm.
swamps, and bogs. All
Mhm.
right, and then the next one is land under water bodies and waterways.
Wait, what about, okay, so this is gone.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then in parentheses, it says under any creek, river, stream, pond, or lake.
What was the one after river?
Stream,
Yep.
pond,
Mhm.
or lake. However, I still think that your second bullet, land underwater, that has to go under the first one. All of those have a buffer zone, right? Can you have? So then separate, then add the land subject to flooding. Do you
So
want
when
to
you
put?
when you get to buffer zones, your point is that buffer zones really only relate to that first bullet.
Yeah,
So can we just say at the very top on the first bullet and buffer zones related to said areas?
sure.
Or or I would have put it at the very end of that, at the end of the bullet, yeah, comma, and buffer zones related to said areas. And related buffer, you know, and accompanying buffer, whatever you call them, and related buffer zones, I don't care. And then we get rid of buffer zones, the fourth bullet.
Do we have a definition of buffer zone in this?
I'm gonna make things even more complicated. Ken. I don't think land underwater has a buffer zone, does it? Cause it's never
No, it
without a
doesn't.
tank,
No, it doesn't.
right?
So,
So I just made that more complicated as I said it out loud, sorry.
but we do have jurisdiction over it.
Yeah, so just put it as the next
The
bullet,
bullet, yeah.
yeah. Right. Do you want it for land subject to flooding, do you want to include bordering and isolated? Or do you think it's fine? It's up to you guys. Okay.
So all these capitalized terms defined in this?
Why don't you just put as defined in the 310 CMR 10? Or do you guys want it defined?
No, I think defining in 310 CMR.
Okay. So we can. I can go through and clean up the format or whatever, but that's a lot of 10.000s. And then are you guys happy with that? And do you want to carry that through all three?
I think that makes sense.
Okay.
We're
I feel
consistent.
happiness is not the correct measure, but
Satisfied? Content? Willing to accept? All right. So we'll use that jurisdiction for all three policies.
Okay,
yeah, and then you could take out. I mean, again, the policies. Then you don't need definitions.
yeah. Right,
Unless
And
they're
so-
not those.
right.
Are we taking that definition out there? Right.
hmm
Okay.
what about the other two?
When do we use natural areas? Can you do a search for that? How do we?
Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
Okay.
Can I ask whether I'll make my this just the organizational thing, getting rid of the title jurisdiction and then just putting that paragraph right after the statute.
Okay. So you want to, and we'll do that on all of them, you're saying? So you want
Yes.
to.
Just see how it looks. Just try it here and see what you think it
Yeah.
looks like.
Can you
'Cause I
say it
think
again? I'm
would be-
sorry.
Just go up to jurisdiction where it says that, get rid of the word, get rid of the title, the heading. And then move that paragraph to above the word purpose. Yep, and then just say pursuant to the WPA, you know, or the commission, that's fine. That's fine. Has jurisdiction over the following areas. And then my last comment would just be to put where it says the purpose of this policy. Can we just state that as an overall goal? What an important goal of the commission is to, further to its mandate. An important goal of the commission is to encourage it's a general statement about one of the things we care about are trees. And then
But that's what it says, right? That's the purpose.
well, yeah, but this says that's the purpose of the policy. I want to say these are our general statements. One of the goals, it's an important goal of the commission is to encourage, its I'm just playing with the language a little bit. And then when you get down to intent, then you can change that to purpose of policy. The purpose of this policy is to provide guidance, because then you're focusing on the, I think you should have that. That's how I would do it. So I would put, where
Yeah.
it says intent, I would put purpose of policy.
So, and what were you with the first purpose?
What?
It's-
The purpose of this policy, and then I would get rid of the word, purpose up where it appears. And then I would say, an important goal of the commission is to, an important goal of the commission was to encourage the preservation or something,
Does anyone, is everyone fine with that language, or does anyone want to?
I don't, I mean, I was probably not saying that right, but I
You're
mean.
you're gonna have to do it on all three
Yeah,
policies.
you're gonna have to change on all of them.
Right.
Yeah, well, no, but we can have, it's an important goal, because I mean, my point is, this is at least a general statement that's tailored to what follows. So we're stating our jurisdiction, we're stating one of our important goals, and then we have a policy that relates to furthering that one important goal. That's all I'm getting at. And so then when you say intent, I would put purpose of policy right there. And if you want purpose of policy, no, I would put purpose of policy in the title too. So so people know exactly what, now you're getting at what the purpose of this is.
Okay, is everyone agreeing with this? I'm just kind of typing in what's being told. Is
I think it
everyone on
makes
board?
sense.
I defer to whatever the lawyers say.
It's more concise.
Do it.
No, I'm just
clear.
trying to be more, I'm trying to have the general statements
Yeah.
that are gonna kind of, two general statements that are gonna be identical, and then a third that points to one of our important goals, and then the policy which furthers one of our important goals.
So how does the purpose of the policy differ from the goal? It's for no net loss of trees.
Well, one is a goal of the commission, and the other is a policy.
No, look at the second goal. Look at under the second paragraph on the purpose of the policy, the goal.
Okay. Or no, a goal of the tree policy. You know what? The is to minimize, okay. Oh, your point is, you say the purpose of the policy, you say that that was already in there. So we should say,
I think you guys are gonna have to read through this after you make the changes from beginning to end to make sure that it still flows.
and I don't care if you want to use, an important,
Well, that's
a
never
priority of, if you want to say a priority of the commit, if you're saying it, you use the word, if you're using the word goal up above purpose, is that one of your problems that we use goal?
One is the goal of the commission, the other one is the goal of the.
Okay, well, if you want to
of the
say
policy,
important
right.
goal, but if you want to use objective or priority is to encourage the preservation, I don't care how we use we get a thesaurus out and
All right, let's just do it
priority.
now, though. Let's get it all squared away so we don't keep doing this.
Okay.
So why don't we say a priority of the commission instead of an important goal up above?
Yeah.
Is that okay, Peter?
Yeah, a priority. Yeah, you don't have to use the word important to make it sound. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
There we go. I liking it.
And then purpose of the policy. The purpose is isn't it? That whole paragraph is not needed under purpose of the policy. That first paragraph is not really needed, but that's okay.
So continue on. What does it scroll down? Where do we say the rule? You know what I mean?
Right.
So get rid of the first paragraph?
Well, no, don't do it. I think the first paragraph doesn't really add anything. But go to Peter's point of where is the guts of this? What is the policy?
Yeah, it says policy requirements, right? So that kind of is the I see what you're saying. So your point is that we talk about platitudes and then you got to keep going and going till you get to policy requirements, which is really what we care about, right?
Right. No offense to Rebecca.
This is what you guys are, this is your tree
No, I
policy.
understand totally. You know what? This is now where, it's
This
funny
is
how
funny.
when you get down to the how many times you do stuff, you get, and in good writing, it takes a gazillion.
Many drafts, many drafts.
Yes, believe me, if you've ever thought that anything that I did, like if you look at something that I finished, if you look at the first draft, it probably bore no resemblance to it. So, um,
So do we need, scroll back up a bit to purpose? Do we even need purpose of policy if we have this
No,
section down
I don't
below?
think you need that paragraph.
Yeah, agreed.
I just want, you guys know that this was all in your previous, I didn't add this. This was all here already. This is, this is your tree policy that's been around that you guys have
Oh.
amended 1,000 times.
The lawyers have got involved, Rebecca.
sorry. Hey, I've shortened it. So far, I've shortened it though.
No, I don't care at all. All I'm saying is when I reorganized it into this structure, all of a sudden,
Mhm.
there's all this superfluous language.
Well, you're right, exactly. The glaring errors came out.
Yeah. You know what they say? There's a saying, if I had more time, I could have made it shorter.
Always cut.
Uh,
Say things in fewer words.
yes, the less wordy, the better.
Absolutely.
Because it does get confusing and talks in circles a bit.
I just think it's funny that you guys have looked at this 10 times.
Rebecca, we're constantly
Not
improving
closely.
ourselves. Always.
We've been out looking at it 10
Life's
more.
a
we'll have 10 more
revision.
versions.
Always. Ever better.
I like it more succinct personally.
Yes.
I think that's
This
great.
thing's 1,200. How many words is this thing?
I don't know.
1,280. 4 pages to say you can't cut a tree down unless you.
I agree.
I like it. So I wish we had done the
1,280
word count.
words, say that.
I don't know if we cut down the word
So
count.
I would definitely remove the first paragraph of this.
What we
Of
could do is just
Of the
send the land
purpose
out.
or
I would. You can keep the purpose, that heading, but take out that first paragraph, and then start with the goal: no net loss.
so that's not the purpose of the policy. That's
It's the
of
goal.
pol- So is there no
Do
purpose?
we need to have a purpose of the policy? I don't know. I don't think you need it, but that's okay. Or we could leave it in.
We're reinventing the wheel when every other town has one of these.
You're right. Okay, leave that alone.
We can cut
But
that
Bob,
out.
they don't have one for Wakefield.
Yeah. They don't have one that's 1,280 words long though, do they?
No.
We can cut that paragraph out. And it'll still go.
So what about the other thing? If you're talking about like the brevity, what are we getting at with the if you go down to the no net loss? So what's the next one? The tree removal policy was developed to. I mean, is that kind of all covered or not really?
That was in there.
I don't think you need that either.
Nobody cares why it was developed. Probably.
I'm kind of.
They really don't.
I'm not. No. We're gonna have the purpose because we're
I mean, we
gonna.
care, but nobody cutting
Yeah,
a tree down cares.
Yeah. Okay, so continue down, scroll down. So definitions are gonna go either get eliminated here or go down to the end.
I don't like them at the end.
You don't do you do, Rebecca.
No, I mean, look at the regulations. It's in what, 10.04? It's right at the beginning, definitions.
Well, no, but you have this thing called definitions, natural areas and landscaped areas. Do we need that? I'm not even seeing that. Do we, you know what I mean? Do we care?
You used it in one of the paragraphs. I think we used it once.
Yeah, so can we get rid of them, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Let's get rid of them. Get rid of the word definitions. People know what a natural area is and a landscaped area is.
Yeah,
We're
I
not
think I don't think you need it. I agree.
Okay, so what's developed to, okay, good. So we're getting rid of that. Then
I know I'm repeating myself, but I am just gonna say, those definitions were in there before. They were
Yeah.
they were just in a paragraph. I just separated them out.
Mhm, it's
to
fine.
be-
Okay,
But I think they're pretty, I think they're not, I mean, I don't think anyone's gonna be stunned by, if they,
No.
if we say, if we said that's our definition.
So do we, are we eliminating the requirement for an arborist letter? We, and under written requests, we mentioned the arborist letter indicated above. So where do I think we deleted that. In our quest for deletions.
Right.
That's what I did.
Mhm. Well, no, but your point is that, what did we say about what we were gonna say about the, that is not a healthy tree, that we,
Right, right.
or if you want to put a
Compromise tree.
third bullet, the commission, where it says, if you want to say above where it says healthy trees and whatever you call it, that, if the applicant determines that we're really saying here is that somewhere, either in a new paragraph or at the end of the compromised trees paragraph, we want to say something along the lines of that, that the commission may require a letter from an arborist to determine, to determine that a tree is a compromised tree and not a healthy tree.
Yep, I think we just say that again. Put that right in there.
No, what was the original language for it, Rebecca? I'm sorry. I
I'm
didn't-
sorry. Original as in original or original me?
If the homeowner contends that the tree is heavily compromised, a letter from a licensed arborist attesting to this may be required. That's the language you put in, Ken, on November 29th.
But what we have is a lane that goes out. We look at it and we, okay, that's fine.
You could, why not just say that, a letter from an arborist might be required.
To confirm that a tree is a
It's-
compromised
it's-
tree and not a healthy tree.
Right. Well, the commission may require a letter from an arborist in order to to evidence.
Yeah. To substantiate that a tree is a compromised tree and not a healthy tree.
I don't like substantiate.
I don't like it either.
All right, confirm.
As evident to evidence.
Yeah,
as
to
the-
evidence that a tree is
is compromised.
Did you say to evidence?
That's, yep,
Is that what you just said?
that is what I said.
To confirm?
Yeah. To indicate?
To indicate,
Yeah.
that's better. That's a much better word than say evidence. Ken,
Yeah.
much better.
Sorry.
Indicate that.
Wait, so you disagree with substantiate and said, then we'll put the.
Evidence is what. but
No, I didn't agree with either
To
one of them.
evidence.
Yeah, indicate is much better. That, how about to indicate that a tree,
It's a compromised tree and not a healthy tree. I like that, because that way you're saying what it is. That's plain English.
Say it again. To confirm if a tree is compromised.
To confirm that, I like to confirm that a tree is a compromised tree.
So we say may require. Good. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because if it's obvious, then we're not gonna put them through the headache.
If
Yeah.
no,
I like,
I think that is a better word.
mhm.
Now, written request, the arborist letter shall be submitted, shall be submitted with this request. But we're saying before it's discretionary. Do we want an arborist letter every time?
required.
If requested.
by the commission. Yeah.
No, too many requests.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're saying that they're gonna make the request and then we're gonna go out and look at it and say we want a letter from an arborist. Isn't that what we're saying? Kinda.
I think that's right.
So it's sort of, it's a little bit circular, isn't it?
Yeah, we're not gonna, they don't have to, in order to, again, do they have to submit a letter?
I would get rid of
with-
that last, I don't think that's helpful. I'd get rid of that last sentence.
Well, we
Because-
have, under compromise, we do have the commission may require a letter from a licensed arborist to confirm.
Right,
that-
so that's
Right.
what.
And we usually tell them that after they see the tree. Usually Elaine will say, oh, I need a letter for this one.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at.
So just take
Exactly.
out the last sentence there. Are you okay with that, Bob?
Yes.
Take that out?
Yeah, because we do it after we look at it. So after they ask us to look at it. Save them the headache.
And did you delete the other things that you had put in yellow, Ken?
No, I put them in yellow because everyone's going back and forth so many times. I didn't want to lose that
I
language.
don't blame you. I don't blame you.
How is this still 4 pages long?
And I didn't save it as red line, unfortunately.
That's all right.
I can I'll remove it. We decided. Too late to change your minds. We keeping this or no?
No, I take that out.
I know
Taking
we're
it
gonna have the
out.
purpose of the policy. We're gonna put the word, the purpose of policy is on there.
Nope. Teresa just said take it out.
No, no.
Okay. Oh, I'm fine with it. That I'm fine taking it out. No, actually, I'm fine.
All right,
Ken,
we're
can
down
you-
to 11:56.
Hey, cut off a whole page.
Did we really?
Yeah, we're down to 3 pages. instead of
Rebecca's,
4.
what was that?
The font for jurisdiction is driving me crazy.
No, I'm at the very end. I'm gonna do a refont. I'm gonna change the font at the very end,
All right.
if that's all right.
Yeah.
Rebecca's unable to focus on anything else now.
It's so distracting.
You might want to just do it.
The font is driving me crazy.
What
So
is
did we
it?
really
It's
get a whole
Calibri.
page? Do we really get a whole page out, or do we get
We
like half a
did.
page?
No, we did.
Well, I'm feeling like that accomplished something. Again, if things don't work out your day job, you're pretty good at editing
No,
documents.
I'm not. I'm
Go
not very
again.
good at it.
Go
I'm good
again.
I'm not good at it. Trust me.
Yeah, if you saw me try to do that, you would feel like a Rhodes Scholar.
I kind of write policy for a living.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I told you it was good. Yes, that's so I was complimenting you.
Just so you know, most of the documents that I put out are not in that Calibri, whatever font.
Is it Corbel? Like I've
Yep.
never even heard of that one.
It's from the town. That's the
Oh,
town.
that's-
That's the town font.
That's terrible.
Calibri?
I didn't pick it, but I go along with it because that's what they give me the template in. So I just use it.
Where is it?
What is it called? Congenial?
Doorbell.
Or Bell?
I have
it's
never
ug- I
heard
think
of
it's
any of
ugly.
these things. That's pretty nice. They're
That's
all
the one that the town I use just because the town uses it.
It's cartoonish.
Times New
Whoa.
Roman.
that's what we use, I think, at our
Sorry,
office.
we're being taped here.
Yes, anything else in this policy? Are we done with this policy? And this was the easier policy.
Well, I think we need now to look at it, review it, digest it.
No.
I like
No,
what we did.
Bob. No, Bob. No.
So
Made a
I
lot
think
of
we-
changes.
I think you
Oh.
should vote on it.
All I know is that the keywords got closest to the top of the the top of the document. That was my
All right, so we're gonna look at the other two policies?
Well, I will say it's 9:20 right now.
And you can you just cut and paste the jurisdiction into the native plant policy? And that was the only thing that was outstanding, so we can tackle that one and get that off the list.
So you don't have, Ken, to cut the jurisdiction section over here, to copy that jurisdiction.
Yep.
We don't have a jurisdiction section under here.
Well, no,
Well,
the second
back up
paragraph,
top.
In
the
the
second
beginning.
paragraph.
Annoying
Ken,
font.
Just copy that. Copy that second
See,
paragraph.
the wrong font.
Now keep on going up.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
Copy that paragraph.
That's the same font.
It's
Oh,
bold.
it's 12.
Is that what it is? It's bold.
It's also
Yeah.
bold.
Bigger.
It's bolded.
No, it just looks like that.
Ah, that's so much better.
So copy that.
Yep, hold on.
Sorry, you're still scrolling.
You know, Rebecca was gonna fix that tonight before she went to bed, if we didn't take care of that.
I don't, wait, I don't have the other one open. But I don't have a copy of the other one, do I?
The native plant one?
No.
It's that same email I gave all three in. Well, I don't remember the date. I can look it up.
Did you save the changes for this? Yeah, yes, you did.
I did, yes. Or I will again.
Ken, what's PG?
Professional geologist.
Alrighty.
Wow.
All right, Rebecca, I sent you this earlier.
Yep.
I'll send you a new one, okay?
Okay. And then. Do you have the plant one, the native plant one? I can look it up.
Did you send that?
The
Yeah,
same email.
sent them all on the same day. Hold on. I don't remember when.
It was just before our last hearing.
Okay.
Before the 19th, I think.
You didn't send it today?
Nope. I. So
No, no.
it was December, yep, December 19th at 2:21. Wait, that was the one I sent, but didn't you guys have it? You guys had a couple edits, right?
Oh, you saw the edits.
Yeah, and then, so you should go by that one, your
I
most.
sent that in November, though.
No, didn't, what?
Did I?
No,
No?
you guys sent a couple edits after that.
Oh, all right, forget what I just said, I'm sorry.
It's so too much.
You sent it on December 28th. You sent the native plant policy draft. Ken.
Yeah, I still have that one open.
Right,
Okay, yeah, that's the one. That's the most recent. If you just put in the jurisdiction, then we should be able to complete that one. Although you might have to change the purpose and or intent section. Or not. You could, they don't have to be identical.
Consistency is a good thing.
Uh-huh.
working on it. Can't see.
You gotta put the people on the side.
I know. Or do you want to put that up top? Is that what you had
Mm-hmm.
up here?
Mhm. Okay, so that, and so we were gonna be parallel to that. We would now get rid of the word
Purpose.
purpose and get rid of the word intent and get all that stuff gone. Then, and then say that the, a priority of the commission, the Conservation Commission, is to encourage the use of, you know what I mean? That's how we would do that. Whoops.
Does someone else want to open it on their end? I'm all
Oh, I can.
frozen.
The
Oh, wait, I don't have the one you sent.
no disturb.
You do have it. You got it on this on December 28th. The native planting policy?
Which one are we talking about?
Were you trying to open up the one you just edited so you could use the same language?
I was.
Yeah, we don't have it yet.
Wait a minute, what are we looking for? Native planting?
No, the one that we just edited was the tree policy and Ken
Right.
Yep.
just did it, and now we're trying to be consistent between the one that Ken just edited and this new one, but he's the only one who has that.
Oh, right.
Okay, I got both.
Now he has to open 800 different things.
Yep, I got them both.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
So, okay, so that third paragraph, the purpose of this policy, we would say something to be consistent with what we did before was a priority of the Conservation Commission is to encourage the use of. So a general statement of our priorities. Okay, then you guys convinced me to get rid of the word, get rid of the heading intent. Since these are sort of all precatory things that we're doing here.
You write purpose of policy.
No, then we're gonna go down to, so I think the only heading we had on the other one was going down to the, what is the policy, you know?
These things weird.
You had
Policy requirement.
you had
Yeah.
purpose of policy, I thought.
Nope, we took that out.
We took it out.
I must have left the room.
Took it out.
You were really focused on the font issue at that
I
time.
couldn't get past the font.
This one's 12, by the way, size. The other one was 11. Just to let you know.
I'll make them
Yeah.
all exactly the same when I post them up on the website and whatnot.
This was
Okay.
only 766 words.
Who's counting?
What a bargain.
So is this policy, this is only one policy requirement, all new plantings, it's one sentence, right? Boom, right? It's a
Yep.
singular policy requirement. Okay, good. Okay. Now scroll up, let's see if we have any of that other stuff that we had. We had definitions. I think we got rid of, can we move those down to the bottom? The definition section or,
Rebecca doesn't like that.
No, we
No.
decided no.
okay, it just kind of disrupts. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
It
I'm
is
fine
how
with
the regs are written.
it. Okay, I'm fine with
I'm
that.
with you. I in my documents, I like to put the definitions at the end, Peter, but
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with it. So
No,
a
because then
priority.
when you read it and you see what it is, you got to scroll all the way to the end. But if you know what
Right.
it is in the beginning, you
Mhm.
don't have to look any
there's a,
further.
there's a split in the circuits on where to put the
Well,
definitions.
sometimes it'd be in an appendix.
Oh my god, a footnote? Why we could just footnote it?
no
No
footnotes.
footnotes.
No footnotes.
No footnotes.
Parentheses?
Oh. Oh, yeah, I think we should have definitions of native plants and invasive species. Yes.
Okay.
You keep on scrolling down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm curious, the exception list. Scroll back up a bit, sorry. I like that. Where did that come from? That must have been copied from somewhere, right?
Probably a couple different places.
Bob, you said you like it?
I do.
Okay, we better put a change in then.
I wouldn't have thought of some of those exceptions. So wait a minute, the last one, the last exception. existing trees and other plants. Exceptions. This policy does not apply to existing trees and other plants.
Existing,
What does that
like you
mean?
don't have to cut them down if they're in.
Oh, okay, right, all right. For any trees and plants replaced for
Oh,
damage.
this, I see. Okay.
That was confusing to me.
All right, should we fix it then?
I'm not sure.
Or how about, does not apply to plants grown for food or, oh, okay,
For any trees.
Oh, new plantings, all new plantings, right?
oh, I see. So you wanna underline the word new plantings?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
So Bob, if it's confusing to you, it's probably gonna be confusing to anybody who reads it, so we should probably fix it.
Yeah, now that you explained it, I get it, but at first I'm like, what? This policy does not apply to existing trees and other plants.
Well, I just like that your point is that it stresses new plantings. That's the
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah,
Gary.
for any trees or plants replaced for damage or other reason, replacement must be native. Okay. Yeah, no, I guess it's good.
I think it's okay.
I think it's fine too. So did you say that when you go up above policy requirement, was there any of that stuff that we wanted to strike? I mean, do we say too much or too little, or no, we didn't say too little. Definitions, native plants, invasive species, policy, okay, so
You're saying above that.
above definitions, yeah. Was there something, are we okay with all that, all those bullets? Are those good? I'm fine with it, by the way. Let me just see, just scroll up a little bit. Yeah, we sort of get into the third person plural, but that's all right. You know, we don't talk about the commission acknowledges that, you know, it's sort of,
Yeah, change that. Where it
so
says
we
promote.
should mean the commission.
yeah.
Commission
The
acknowledges,
commission
yeah.
acknowledges, yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
And where's another one of those down there too? But so
Where
can
were
you
I?
scroll up a little bit just so we just cover the, I just want to see just.
Oh, there it is. I see it.
Yeah, the
There's one
commission
above
has a
it.
responsibility, yeah.
And there's one right above it, Ken.
little teeny commission.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see, the landscape requirements should be incorporated in all areas of the commissions to mitigate the negative impact of land. So can I just, I'll make the suggestion and you guys think where we say, we had that one sentence that says, if you go up to the, just keep going up. We make a thing says that a priority of the conservation is to encourage the use of native vegetation. The town recognizes significant benefits of establishing, in addition, ancillary benefits.
Why do we say the town? Shouldn't we say the commission? In that second sentence.
I kind of like that. I mean, we do sort of speak for the town, don't we? Or I don't know.
Do we?
I don't care. Okay, that's fine. I don't care if you want to say the commission. That's fine. The landscape requirements.
No, I think you're right. I think it should say.
Yeah, we don't speak for the town.
All right,
No.
you need to go back and change that on the other one then.
We say the town, the other one too, really?
Uh-huh. Yes, they're I tried to
Yeah.
do them because they were exactly
Okay.
the same.
And this kind of goes to that whole paragraph that includes the bullet points. Do we need it or not? I don't know whether I mean, I'm fine either way. I'm totally happy with it either way. I'm just curious whether we want to.
I like that explanation. Like I said on the other one, it reminds me of the preamble. And you can go through the regs and you can jump to the performance standards and only get to, how
I'm fine.
meet the
I'm fine
performance
with it then.
standards,
Let's
but
leave it then. Let's leave it. Let's leave it the way it is. That's
the
fine.
interesting parts and the educational components are.
Yeah, I mean, when you call it a preamble, that I relate to. One is the preamble, which is kind of, kind of like plain English statements that we care about, and then there's the policy. And I just want to, and by having that a title, the first major title is what is the policy? We are, and we're delineating the preamble and from the policy, which I like. Was my.
Hey, I didn't see the whole sentence, but there's something about the commission must.
Yeah, I was
I
thinking
don't know
through
what
that.
else it
I don't want
was.
to,
Not sure what came after that.
That seems really important.
It does, when it says the commission must.
well, I was thinking the same thing, that it kind of, conservation must educate,
Oh, yeah. No.
Must is pretty strong.
Mhm. Oh, the thesaurus is going to come out. Should.
Does must have any
Should,
legal
ought to.
requirements behind it?
Perhaps
need to
might
see that,
consider.
Bob.
Why do we need that? Why do we need that whole bullet? Why do we need that bullet? Or the next one? For that matter.
Yeah, I sort of feel the
Those are
same
taken
way.
from another one.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
Two
would get
last
rid of,
bullets.
I get rid
Yeah.
of both of those because
Yeah, we don't need those bullets.
agreed.
Right. Just put an and after help though. Yeah.
after the healthy one.
Mhm.
Can you vote on this tonight so that the planning board has it so they can insert it in the MBTA overlay district? They're waiting for it to be finalized.
Just this particular one, native planting?
The native plant, yeah. If you're not gonna vote on the other ones, if you can just vote on this one.
I think we're gonna vote on all three,
I
Judy.
hope so.
At least two.
Well, at least two of them.
Yeah.
It is 9:37.
And we haven't even touched the bylaw. Just wait till we get to the bylaw.
Yeah, I think that one's gonna
Hot-
have to wait.
Hot diggity dog.
Just you wait.
All right, you guys good to vote on this one?
Yes.
We need to run a spell check or anything like that, or?
I can make sure it's formatted,
Yeah,
so.
make sure it's clean with the
Yeah, yeah.
punctuation and all that.
Yeah.
We can vote on the general content.
Yep.
All right, would somebody like to make a motion to approve the general content of the native species, native planting policy?
I make a motion.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Ken,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes.
What about the tree policy?
You need to go back and change the word town to commission in that paragraph before you vote on the tree one.
Yeah.
Ken, do you want to pull that up?
Oh, yeah.
No, you don't
Yeah.
mind. You say, of course not. My pleasure.
Where does it say? Where are you talking about? I'm sorry.
Right there.
Town recognizes trees, yeah.
Anything else?
Are there any musts
What else do you have?
in this? All landowners must obtain, okay,
Yeah.
that one's okay.
Hey, can I just I have one little thing. Can we say, do we have to say lastly? Because it implies that it's lastly and leastly,
When is lastly ever really supposed to be used, really?
So
Where
can
is
we
it?
just, that's in the, that paragraph that you were on.
Dang, I use lastly.
That word, maybe last, but not lastly.
Ken, did you see that word?
I do not see that word.
Okay,
It's
scroll
it's
up, scroll
go
up.
Go up, there it is, last sentence. The lastly sentence.
Yeah, well, it kind of is the most important part of it. It's sort of, that's in my mind, one of the most important,
I mean, you could
reasons
say
for the tree
in
policy.
summary or,
Moreover. No, that sentence is fine the way it is. I agree.
okay.
Also, because you say trees are effective, blah, 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 and then you say trees play.
Oh, and you want to say, and they play, and play a
Also,
significant
I
role.
put-
It's a hell of a sentence.
Quite the
It's
sentence,
too
yeah.
long sentence.
Yeah.
How about also play? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. That was done. Well played. I like that. Yeah.
We good?
I think so.
Yep. So lastly, can we vote on it?
Sure can after Ken saves it. All right. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the tree removal policy as edited tonight?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Ken,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes.
So what about the no disturb?
I don't think that'll be as hard as we think it is. I think we can bang that out now that we have the jurisdictional thing under control.
We're bangers.
We have we
There
have
you
momentum.
go. Peter's on a roll.
He
Well,
is.
He had coffee.
He is. All right. Yeah, we have to get the you still have that copy, a copy of the what used to be called jurisdiction, Ken, that you could pop in this.
Yep. Hold on. I'm trying to find a version. Find the right version. Did we work on? We didn't work on that one, right?
No, it just had like the green highlights and notes in it. We started talking about it. I think you pulled up the red line version, maybe.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm on the right one.
Yeah, I don't think we did anything else other than talk about jurisdiction. All right, so we're gonna get rid of the purpose.
No.
Do that.
well, no. The goal is, okay, so this is what we do. Yeah. We have and then we can say, where it says purpose, we're gonna say,
Yep. The priority of the
A
commission.
priority.
it's a priority of the
commission.
commission is is
Yep.
to maintain the vegetative buffer zones.
Okay. And then get rid of town in the next sentence.
Geez, it looks like somebody used the same format for each of these documents.
No, that part we have. That part is good. Just
That's
the
good. The
town,
next
it's the
thing right
commission.
there.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Makes it easy to change, I guess.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
Lead jurisdiction.
Okay, so get rid of that jurisdiction piece.
Yeah.
That's been
So
replaced.
now we have to do a search for a resource area, right? And substitute.
It was highlighted, wasn't it? I think it's highlighted.
Okay.
Okay, so we get rid of the word intent, that this policy provides guidance, or do we get rid of that to homeowners?
I think
Do
you
we-
deleted it in one of
Yeah,
them.
we
Yeah,
got rid of
I think
intent.
we can delete that. Delete
Okay,
that.
deleted.
Okay, we get rid of the word intent, the heading intent, and then the
Where is the policy requirement section of this?
I think, wait, aren't you gonna delete that paragraph?
no, let's just
The policy
before you,
down below.
this is one, let's just make sure that before we delete it, because
Right.
you can't put it back in.
Go down to policy requirement. Here we go.
Sorry.
That's the policy requirement section? Wow.
That's applicability, right?
Yeah, this is not gonna be a 5 minute,
Nope.
2 minute job. So, but just looking at it real quick, just where our heads are in it. I like when we say when reviewing a project or activity, starting it with that. But then you got up and now
You
we
know
have.
what? When reviewing a project, an activity that is subject to the jurisdiction of the commission, you can combine these two thoughts. When reviewing a project or activity, or that is subject to the jurisdiction of the commission, and then the commission shall presume.
And since we did that jurisdiction thing, we want to somehow limit it to the first bullet point in the jurisdiction, right?
Yeah,
Is that right?
25 feet of a wetland resource area, lowercase.
So if we go up to the jurisdiction area, the jurisdiction, our goal is that we're only applying it to that first bullet point, right?
Yep.
Okay, okay, so
Wait a minute. Oh, blah, 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 right, okay.
so do we want to say wetland resource area and related buffer zones? I don't know how we say it. I'm sorry to be.
So this doesn't apply anymore, right?
Well, no, we're going to use the same one. So we're only applying, I thought we had decided, we broke it down so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
the
okay,
first,
I'm sorry.
only the first bullet point is really, you know, that involves wetland resource areas as just, you know,
Yes.
and I want to say in the first bullet point above, but you know what I mean? Boy,
So this is incorrect. It's not within jurisdictional areas. It's within wetland resource areas.
And
the
buffer
in the
zone.
Yeah.
buffer zone,
And
as to
buffer
the
zones.
requirement of the,
It's wetlands resource areas and buffer zones.
in buffer zones, yes. In buffer zones to wetland resource areas. You know, how's that?
Well, it's really just within the buffer zone.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
within the
really is
within buffer
yeah.
zones to wetland resource areas.
Yes, yeah. Well, buffer, that's redundant, right? Because we
Yeah,
just
you don't,
defined,
yeah, just say buffer zone,
yeah.
within
Mhm.
buffer zones. There we go. Keep on going.
You have to change resource areas there in that paragraph above definition.
Hold on a second. I need to capitalize buffer zone. Can we? Buffer zones. Yep.
Oh, yeah. It's good to have this many eyes.
Is it?
Do we have a definition under buffer zone though?
It is actually. Yeah.
Do we have a definition of buffer zone?
You don't need to because you put in accordance with 310 CMR and it's in there.
Okay, good. That's fine.
Okay. Yep,
That's a citation. So you wouldn't
Yep.
change that.
No, but 2 lines down. Yeah.
And I know I can do a find all, but replace all, but
It's
we're
good to
going-
read it, I think.
We're going
Mhm.
through it piece by piece. So
There's your buffer zone definition.
Mhm.
are these? Is this a definition?
Yes.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean, doesn't mean we have to leave it that way. I mean, I didn't quote, it is from the regulations, but I'm not quoting the regulations.
didn't cite it,
Change it
yeah.
to be consistent.
So what we say, just to go to the act, it says that we're gonna have one, you gotta prove it by clear and convincing evidence or whatever. What did we say up there? I just want to make sure that I understand what we're. Or go ahead, I'm sorry, just keep scrolling down because maybe it's covered.
No, do we want to define resource area that way?
I was gonna say, do you want to delete buffer zone and delete resource area definitions if you've kind of
Yes.
already talked about them?
Yes.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yep.
Spacing. Ugh.
It's
It's got like a
probably-
little. It's got an indent. It's
I-
just a.
I don't know how that came up like, I don't remember how that
Cuckoo.
came up like that. I know, it's really annoying. I can change all that so it's easier.
Okay,
Right.
Can you get rid of that dash between 25 and feet?
Get rid of it.
Yeah, it doesn't belong
There,
there.
there isn't one.
Oh,
this
next
one,
line
this one,
down. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
So I just changed wet resource area to wetland resource area.
Yeah, well, no, but the first sentence, this policy should apply to any activities that are subject to the jurisdiction. Oh, it doesn't matter really. So we just say that any alteration of within 25 feet of a wetland resource area.
Is that right? Yes, it is right. That's right.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, that's. Mhm. That's-
Keep on going down, scroll down, Ken, please. Thank you. All right, so here's an exception. The word was legally permitted to be altered.
So what I meant by that was, it was suppose someone came in and they got an old order of conditions that allowed them to have a shed at 20 feet or something, and they wanted to, like, I don't know, repair or do something or other.
Then you don't mean the work was legally, you don't mean the work was legally permitted to be altered.
Okay, change it.
It's not the work.
Well, it's pre-existing
Yeah,
Yeah.
condition.
but it's not the work that's altered, it's the wetland that was being altered. The work was legally legally permitted by the commission.
Or we could just say previously approved.
Yes.
Was previously approved. The work was previously approved by the, yeah.
Like prior to this policy or something, you know, whatever, something like that.
So like no reasonable conditions or alternatives exist that would allow the proposed activity to proceed. You know, but one of the times I worry about that second bullet point is
That's
this
great,
is
yeah.
this is the size 12 foot going into a size 10 shoe that we talk about. You know, I'm proposing 150 unit on this half acre property. That's the proposed activity. There's no way we can do it without.
But this
Right.
is discretionary, because that's the very first sentence. This is the commission may, at its discretion, consider.
Okay,
So
all right,
you
all right,
have the
all right, all
discretion to
right.
determine that.
I would say, if you want to say prior to this policy, I'd have to say was previously approved prior to the adoption of this policy.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
You had a problem with this?
Yeah, delete that.
So,
That can't be something.
okay, well, we get all the time that second bullet just that
It's like the redevelopment. We've done the best we possibly could. There's nothing else I can do.
but we have to have 150 units or we're not going to make money.
Right.
Yeah, I can't double my profits if I take one more
Right,
unit out.
exactly, right.
But that's exactly what they're saying. The proposed activity is that I mean that
But no, but all
it was the proposal was wrong-headed to start out
yeah,
with.
but that could be our response. It's like, well, you know what? How many units you have is not our issue, right? That's your issue, not ours.
Yeah.
Our purpose is not to give you, you know, the maximum, return on your dollar.
Well, I understand that, but I just worry that invites
We just say that to them. That's all.
Okay.
I think that's inevitable, no matter what
Yeah.
you're saying. Oh yeah, we don't have a policy purpose anymore. That's why that's in red.
Yep. Can you just say policy?
Sure.
Right, policy, right.
Good job.
Almost fits on another one page.
I know,
Oh, okay, we gotta eliminate 4 lines.
Right, if
Well,
you
you get
adjust the,
like, you
adjust
get
the
like
margin.
2-inch headers.
Yeah,
Right. So what drives me crazy about these things is they have no page numbers on them, but that's just my little bugaboo.
I can put page numbers.
Alrighty.
Oh, that's
Would
gonna
you
add a
like page numbers? On all of them?
It drives me crazy not to have page numbers, but.
Does it? Okay.
Can you check on the formatting and maybe you can
Yep.
squish it together?
Do you want a page number on page 1?
No, there should be never a page number on page one.
Just checking.
Whoa.
Do you like it to be one of something or just? Do you like it to be page 2 of 4 or do you like just page 2?
Just
I had a
page two.
client, yeah.
In the middle or on the side?
You don't want to hear my requirements, I don't think, Rebecca. So I'm
See,
gonna,
I'd like to hear it now so that way I can carry it through.
No. no.
Okay, so go to the definitions. Do we need a definition of activity? I mean, really? I don't know. Alteration.
I
Well,
like that
I,
because
I
that,
like it. It
yeah, I do
describes-
too.
And how about interest of the act? I mean,
We had it somewhere. If you want to take that out, I don't mind
I
that.
mean,
but
I just want to find it. Just want to see it.
Right, it's the second one.
Well, let me say interest protected by the WPA. The,
that's all I need to say.
what do we just say? Little I, and then get rid of the definition. What do you
I
say?
agree.
The other one was.
Now
overriding
it fits on the other page.
Well,
You did it, Peter.
well, wait a minute. Do we have those interests anywhere else? Did you say?
No,
I know. It looks like.
It says overriding public interest on one of those.
No, we don't have the word interest of the act.
Interest of MGO.
Yeah,
Interest of
yeah,
the
but we don't
interest
use it. Public
and
interest and
interest.
interest protected by the WPA. We're not.
If we're
That
referencing interest,
that definition adds nothing.
well, it explains what those interests are. If we're gonna reference interest, I think it makes sense to show what they are.
Okay, go back to the definition. I'm sorry, interest protected by the WPA. Go back to the definition. I'm sorry. Interests of the act, so that's different. So it's sort of,
That was good. You can make it all 11 font if you want. Consistent
okay,
with
well, I'm
font.
fine. If you guys like it, I'm fine with
Or
it.
it's 11 cell.
alteration, a different of alteration includes resource area. We're not using that term anymore.
Oops, sorry.
Should we say, what's it, regulated resource? It's regulated resource area.
Okay,
Well,
Or we
we
just put it
talked
in
about
small.
this. We just went over this one, where that's a definition. Do we want to leave it?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, you're right, sorry.
And
sorry.
I don't care which one we do, but
I just think it's confusing.
up to you. I'm just scrolling through. It's up to you guys.
what do we say when we have the jurisdiction? I'm sorry, go to the jurisdiction thing.
We
Is
just
that the
call it
first thing?
wetland resource area.
Okay. So whatever we do, we should follow that, right? Or not? Or,
All right, we shouldn't do it here because that's a quote, right? So we're just talking about the definitions. Rebecca said we could change it if we want because these aren't cited.
so isn't it a wet means of a regulated resource? Okay, I don't care.
Put it in lowercase.
Did I say wetland resource area?
No, because I think don't we mean more than just the wetland resource area there?
No. Okay.
So if we're gonna keep in interest of the act, did you go back to put a capital I on interest when you used it?
I did already,
Okay, sorry about that. Thanks, Ken.
I think.
Yeah, you did.
We'll start from the beginning again.
Yeah. You get rid of the word extremely. That bothered me. Wetlands are extremely effective. Can you get rid of that extremely? It's right in the center of that paragraph there. Yeah. Sorry.
Lastly, there's another one's,
Yep.
wetlands also
Oh
absorb.
my God, right.
Told you, follow the same format.
We're getting good at this.
We reference NZD, we did say up above, no disturb zone, NDZ, so, okay, got it, good.
I keep on thinking of the DMZ.
We can add that in too.
Kinda, they're cousins, I sound. I hate when they give you like
Can I get rid of
a
this or?
underlined. I don't care. I don't have a strong feeling about it.
I think that looks good. It's a shame that one line continues on, right?
Oh, it won't be there.
All right.
Yeah, change your margins,
It's something, anything.
at least your left-right margins, maybe.
All right.
So distracting.
Taking the or out.
Well, right there. I like that. Right. Let's see. Ah,
All right.
the thing of beauty. So should we have a motion for this?
Yeah, would somebody like to make a motion to approve the no disturb policy as amended tonight?
I'll make
So
that motion.
was it amended or is it new?
As edited?
Yeah, right, all
As,
right.
as drafted, right? Or as
Yeah, I don't think you guys did a written one before, did you?
I don't think
if you
so.
if you did, we need to know the date of the original one.
I don't think so.
Okay.
You didn't.
Okay.
All right, so the motion would be to approve the no disturb policy as drafted tonight.
And Haley made that motion. I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Ken,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes.
So can I ask Rebecca about the January 8th meeting about with the town council not happening? Is that why you canceled it?
Yeah, it changed to January 22nd.
Ah.
Did I not put that out there? Did I not tell you guys
No,
that?
you didn't tell us about, all you did was cancel the 8th. You didn't say when the new one was.
Sorry. Yeah, new one's January 22nd. I thought I did. That's so weird. All right, January 22nd is the new one.
Okay. Are we still planning on doing a letter?
I assume some of you are going to that meeting, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think we had all planned on going to
Okay, good.
But can you send us an invitation for the 22nd, Rebecca? It's at 7?
I don't know. It's a good question. I'll have to look it up.
So
It's
is there
at
no
7.
meeting at all on the 8th then?
That's yeah.
There's
They
not,
changed it. We were originally scheduled for the 8th. And then conservation got bumped to the 22nd.
Hmm.
I don't know how I found that out because they didn't tell me. Judy, how did we know that? Something happened. Maybe Kevin?
maybe.
No,
I
Sherry.
didn't get like a notification or anything. I just,
All right.
So again, I'm gonna repeat, are we gonna still try to get to do a letter to them in advance?
I thought that was the original plan.
Right, no, I know, I'm just bringing it
Yeah.
up again, that's all. And I know that, Paul had sent me, I did a short letter, Paul had sent comments. Others, I think, had comments, but you should send them to me so I can make changes.
Hmm.
And then we have some more information about what percentage of the town budget that I'll include that was sent.
Can you send me a copy of that, whatever you have?
I will do that, yep. You had already commented on it, and I made a couple of changes based on what you told me, but I'll send it to you, I'll send it around again.
Okay.
But are we meeting? Yeah, we'll meet again before the 22nd. What do I
Maybe the
say?
16th.
Yep, so we'll meet again.
Okay, anything else? Rebecca, you got anything else? We're gonna cut, we get 10:07. I don't think we're gonna have a chance to go through the
No.
wetland bylaw tonight.
Oh,
the one that's the MACC, it says it was approved in 2006.
I did notice that.
It might be beneficial to look at some other towns.
Yeah, I looked at Linfield, it was very similar. And by
To
the
the-
way, there's a bylaw and then there are regulations. But I'm assuming we implement the regulations and assume we have the bylaw that says we get to implement the regulations.
Mhm.
That's all we need to do for the bylaw, right?
Mhm.
So anyway. But towns have both, it's the bylaw plus the regulations.
But I think it's exactly how you had said it, that they town
Right,
meeting.
then it's for the bylaw and then we implement the regulations.
Yeah.
But what it's worth, I know this was commented before, Linfield has a penalty, a $1 penalty, and I know people didn't like that before, but.
It would
We'll have
never
a-
pass. It would never pass with fines.
Yep, that's what happened.
And they don't recommend it anymore. DEP
And
does not
besides a
recommend.
$1 penalty, we should have at least a $2 penalty. No.
Judy, you said it's no longer recommended?
Correct.
I think
Because
that's
the
right.
problem is who would enforce it? That's
Yeah. that's a
generally
good
what the
point.
problem is.
Yep,
And then it's totally arbitrary.
okay. All right, we'll talk more about it. So I'm sorry, Rebecca, you said you were gonna see if there was a more recent, oh no, you said just to look at other, so I just looked at Linfield, it almost tracked it completely. But I didn't look at any other towns.
Well, I can find some and circulate them, and typically it's like I look at them and I like bits and pieces of each one, and then kind of cobble it together. All right, we could do that for next time. Next time is what, the 16th?
16th.
Just so I'll be there on the 16th, but I would have been away 5 days before that, and I'll be away a couple days after that. So, just to let you know, I don't know how much I'll have prepared. I have time off right before that. That's the Tuesday, Monday's the holiday, and then we leave the Thursday before that to go out west. So I won't be working that Thursday before the meeting, just so you guys know.
The only thing we'd have right now is 117 New Salem Street and then wetland bylaw discussion. right?
No, there's more stuff. We're gonna have Millbrook condos, the stormwater management. It's gotta come before us, give an update on where that stands. There's also Butler Ave. Remember, that was a long time ago. That is currently to be scheduled to be listened to on the 16th.
Okay.
And then if we get anything else in between.
All right. Anything else, Rebecca?
Nope, that's it.
Judy?
Nope.
All right. All right, would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
Okay, all in favor? Ken,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote to adjourn. All right, good night, everybody. William, thank you for joining us, and good night, everybody.